Okay, there being 6:30 on April 15th, I'm going to start the Zoning Board of Appeals off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. First order of business is 0 Horse Neck Road. It's a continued hearing on administrative appeal of Robert Haynes III and Shauna Weckhauser from a letter issued by the Building Commission Zoning Enforcement Officer that subject property is undevelopable land. Subject property located at 0 Horse Neck Road, Westport, Mass. It is shown on Assessor's Map 45, Lot A. So the way we're going to do this, I'm going to have the petitioner come up, provide whatever information is pertinent. Board will then ask questions, and after that, I will then open it up to the public. So the petitioner or the petitioner's representative.
Thank you. John Markey from Markey & Walsh in New Bedford, Massachusetts, on behalf of Mr. Haynes and Ms. Weckhauser. I believe last week, if the town has received it, a request for a continuance was filed. Has that been received?
I got an email from.
And it had an attached a letter? I have a copy of a letter that was sent by email to you requesting the continuance. It was sent in last week.
He did mention he was probably going to be requesting.
Okay.
You can do that tonight.
I got it. No, I'm here. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't trying to drop it on you, that we weren't just showing up at the last minute with the continuance request. So just to give the board a little bit of context, my associate attorney, Michael McVeigh, has been working with the Haynes family and Ms. Weckhauser for a couple of months on this project. One of the issues and one of the reasons that the building inspector suggested we might need this relief was whether or not the way, which has been shown on historical plans, was a road which could allow for frontage. As a result, there's a parallel process going on with the planning board as to the status of that way. A public hearing had already occurred, which we were hoping to get a vote from. They said that they wanted to hear further from the building commissioner and fire to review it before they would make a decision. So as a result of that, we don't know whether we're going to need the relief that was originally requested. So we think it's more prudent for us to go back to the planning board to try to get that resolved and clarified for you. And then we either will see you in June or we will withdraw.
But no matter how, you're going to see us, because you can't withdraw without seeing us.
Oh, no, I understand. I'd love to be here, and Michael would love to be here. He has 2 little kids, so I'm giving him the night off so he doesn't have to drive from Attleboro. But we will see you either way, but I just wanted to let you know I didn't want to go into the merits of it. I think most of the neighbors have all been supportive and in favor of the construction of a single-family home for the family that's been here for many years. But for now, we'd ask that you grant us, not in May, just in case we're not ready yet, depending on planning, but a June date if that's possible.
So you want to give them the paperwork?
And I'll sign whatever extension paperwork you need.
So we're going to have to come up with a date certain. So you're not looking at May, you're looking at June, just to,
Whatever date you all pick, I don't want.
well,
No, because I'll take a date certain, but I don't know if you guys chosen your date in June?
we don't have any dates assigned yet.
Okay,
So do you prefer May or June?
we prefer June.
June, okay, so we'll come up with a date for June. We don't have anything yet.
Can you come up with a date?
Anything other than the 3rd.
Anything other than the 3rd?
Okay,
That's a Sunday.
April, May, June. About 10th? Is the 10th okay with you? Sir?
Well, I'll do, you guys decide, you got a lot more people than we do. We will be there when you need us to be
Okay.
there.
Members of the board, how does June 10th fit with your schedules?
It's fine for me.
Fine.
Fine.
Kevin?
Okay.
George? You gonna nod? Okay, I'm good with it. So you can put in there June 10th at 6:30. And then what you have to do is then you have to read it to the board and ask for a continuance.
Okay,
And you realize it's a $100 fee.
that is understood. 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay. I, John Markey, request that the hearing on my client, Mr. Haynes and Ms. Weckerser's petition be continued until June 10th, 2026 at 6:30. I understand that the deadline for making decisions will be extended accordingly. Signed, John A. Markey Jr., 4/15/26. Asking to consider that request.
Okay, we have a request for a continuance. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to grant the continuance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Wait, first of all, I can't do this. I have to assign voting members. Voting members will be Roger Menard, Cynthia Kosekowicz, Jerry Coutinho, Constance Gee, and George Steltis. So we got, Jerry has made a motion. I'll second the motion of the voting members. All in favor of a continuance? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, that's unanimous. So
Thank you very much.
we'll see you
in a month.
June 10th. Let me put that on my calendar so I don't forget.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay. The second hearing is 112 Reed Road, hearing on application of John Francor. How do you pronounce the last name? Francor. Okay, that's, okay. And Ronald Francor and Adam Francor, owners for a variance and/or special permit to construct an accessory dwelling of 1,750 square feet for a handicapped individual with attached oversized garage exceeding the size of the dwelling as mandated by zoning bylaw, Article 9, Section 952. Property is located at 112 Reed Road, Westport, Mass., and shown on Assessor's Map 33, Lot 76. Was again, same procedure. I'll have the petitioner come up, provide whatever information is pertinent. The board will ask questions. After the board is done, then I'll open it up to the general public. I do want to read one thing, though, that regarding this particular, let's see, up until a couple of years ago, detached accessory dwellings required a special permit. What was it, 3 years ago, 3 years ago? The state changed that to make it a by right. So our bylaw had to change to account for that. Now, part of the bylaw that they're talking about, and let me go back into 9.5,
Roger,
excuse me?
you want the,
I got it here. Okay, so it is a by right to have an accessory apartment of 900 square feet or the smaller of a half of the size of the house. So if you had a 2,000 square foot house, you could have 1,000 square foot, but 900 would be smaller. But if you only had a 1,600 square foot house, half of that would be 800. So 800 would be smaller than 900, so 800 would be the maximum you could have. We do have a provision, though, and I'll read it. The Zoning Board of Appeals may allow and grant reasonable and necessary accommodations relative to accessory dwelling units for persons with disabilities and limited mobility. And that is what the applicant now is requesting. Now, and I've talked to our attorney about this, so we're going to treat this as a special permit because it doesn't fall under the provisions of a variance, it doesn't fall under the provisions of finding, and it doesn't fall under the provisions of an administrative appeal. So since this used to be a special permit, we're going to treat this as a special permit for allowing or granting a reasonable and necessary accommodation relative to the dwelling requirement due to a disability or somebody with limited mobility. So that's the way we're going to handle this particular application.
Roger, excuse me. Jeff, I just want to clarify, the last sentence there, is that exactly the way the state law now reads?
No.
No.
Okay.
state road.
So
is
the
it-
state law does not address that,
Does
correct?
not address it.
Okay.
I think what the town was trying to do here is that, under the disability laws, there is this concept of a reasonable accommodation.
Right.
And I think that what you guys were trying to do here was to keep that reasonable accommodation in there. So no, that is not in the state law, but clearly it's giving you the authority to do this And if it wasn't some type of different than a variance, you wouldn't need it, right? You could just ask for the variance. But I think what happens in the variance situation, as you probably know, shape, size, and topography of the property. And I don't think, my read of this is that the town did not want that to be a criteria for this, but rather authorized you to make reasonable accommodations. And the only thing, as Rogers pointed out, the only thing it really fits into is some type of special permit.
But you're reasonably comfortable that we're not violating the new 2025 state law ability for us to do this, or requirement for us to do this?
Yeah, I'm comfortable because even under the state law, it says that these have to be by right, but you can by special permit
That's what it-
let them be bigger.
Yeah, that's
So I think you are in compliance with the state law, even with this.
But the state law requires 900 square feet or half the gross floor area. That was added from the state
right.
law.
And it doesn't specifically say for accommodation, disability, or anything like that.
No, but it does allow a
It does allow it.
municipality
Yeah.
to be, to make, to
more
allow
lenient.
a larger ADU by special permit.
It's sort of left over from our previous zoning was because we left it at 900, and we didn't have the half of the size of the house. But let's say if, because the applicant needed, because they were maybe retrofitting an existing building, needed 925 feet, because, you know, the hallways needed to be bigger. We weren't gonna get so, you know, concerned about that. But in my mind, I think it has to do, there has to be some showing that if it's gonna be over 900 square feet, and how much is gonna be over 900 feet, is gonna just show me, like, why do you need that, as much room as you're asking for?
It seems to me I recall reading the word net square footage. Do you recall whether that's accurate?
It's gross now under.
Yeah, I think it's
under
gross
this-
square
under this-
footage.
Under the
Are they
state
saying
rules.
gross? Okay, because I don't know that we have a definition of that, because as you know, in the past, we exclude things like non-heated areas, entryways, so forth.
Yeah, I think that what they're asking for, the difference, I don't think the definition of gross or net is gonna make a difference. They're asking for almost.
You're talking
like-
about this
Yeah,
applicant?
in this
I'm not
particular
talking
app,
about this
Yeah,
applicant,
I'm
I'm
just-
talking about the law.
yeah, so.
Yeah, there's no definition of gross,
Yeah.
but it is gross. We're not talking net, it's gross.
Okay.
We've always used livable space. So if you had a stairwell, we didn't include that in the square footage.
But under gross, I think that would be included.
Right, okay.
Right, but then that's, could be a reason for a special permit, that their net is 900, but their gross is 1,000, and then I think,
Right, okay,
you know, we
yeah.
could do something.
I'm going to read one, I do have just one document from Roger Passon, who is, okay, in regards to the reference applicant, some of the residents of Primrose Lane have requested a review and request and provide comments based on Westport's regulations. Items be reviewed, the rendering plan, the floor plan, the site plan, property card, and the existing property. As the board knows, the applicant is seeking a variance, well, that was one of the things you were seeking, of bylaw Article 9, Section 952. Per Section 952, an ADU shall not exceed 900 square feet or half the gross floor area of the dwelling, whichever is smaller. As such, since the net area of the principal property is 1,758 square foot, the maximum ADU allowed under this regulation is 879 square feet. Not only is the applicant requesting that they be allowed to construct an ADU of 1,750 square foot, basically equal to the principal structure, they're also looking to construct 1,728 square foot detached garage to the ADU. All told, that is 3,528 square foot structure being constructed under the guise of an ADU. ADU is an accessory development, dwelling unit. This is totally not in the intent of an ADU regulation, that being protect stability, property values, and residential character of the neighborhoods. As the 1750 square foot exceeds the gross area of most of the abutting homes in the addition to those in the neighborhood, not to mention the attached garage, which doubles the square foot area. Besides, there is a major concern of the neighbors as to what will happen once the current proposed occupant leaves the dwelling. What will the three-bedroom home be used for? Based on this information, there is no justification to allow such a size structure to be constructed under the guise of an ADU, especially when another legal alternative exists. The applicant could perceive receiving permission to building this structure by subdividing the current 4.2 acre parcel and pursue acceptance of this new lot under zoning bylaw section 8.5 and 8.6, a subdivision of two lots of the same driveway. Portion of a common driveway will be less than 500 feet and would allow the new home and property to stand on its own, allowing the future sale of either property to go forward unencumbered by the other structures. Respectfully request the board deny the applicant's request based on variance Article 9, Section 952. That's, I'm just reading that into the record. So, Sean, go ahead.
Okay, Sean Leach for Northeast Engineers, representing Ron and Francoeur, who are here. They're the owners of the property. This property is about a 4.5 acre lot located on the west side of Reed Road. It has a current single-family home located to the rear. What we're looking to do is build an AD unit for Mr. Francoeur and Mr. Francoeur, sister and daughter, who is severely handicapped. And we need this extra space due to the fact that he is handicapped. You need wider hallways, you need wider around the kitchen, you need wider around that. So we're looking to build a one-story space. Now, we're asking for 1,750. That includes a covered porch, which I don't know if it falls under your living space. And I'm thinking we're all a little confused now as to square footage now, but we included that as part of the application, the covered porch that's in front of this for 1,750 square feet. And we realize it's 850 square feet above the current bylaw requirement. But we also have a restriction back in 1982, I believe. This lot was granted a variance for,
Well, if you hang on a second, I've got the
yeah,
paperwork for that.
yeah, so, excuse me, 1985, Paul and Marilyn Pease received a variance because of the lack of frontage, 54 feet of frontage on Reed Road. And one of the provisions was you can't further subdivide this lot. We were going to go that route, but unfortunately, that is in the decision from 1985.
Correct.
So what we're looking for here is basically, it has enough room area upland frontage to be a separate lot, but we're looking to build an ADU. It's going to have 2 bedrooms, 1 for caretaker for Mr. Francoeur's daughter, and Adam Francoeur lives in the house at the top of the hill. What we're trying to do is just provide some independence for this particular individual, and we just need a little extra space to do that.
Well,
Who's going to be living there again? I thought it was a mother, a daughter, and a caretaker.
It's Ron's daughter, Adam's sister.
Mother, father, and daughter.
Yeah. It meets the
And
requirements.
who's going to be living in the primary residence?
Son and his wife.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't switch it?
But
Have the son and his wife live in a one-bedroom ADU and the family with the disabled child living in the larger house?
It's a raised ranch.
well, I mean, what you actually have here is 3 bedrooms, and excluding the porch is 1,800 square feet.
the third bedroom, and it's written in there on, if you see it below, the third bedroom is going to be excluded here. That's just the floor plan, the rough floor plan that,
It still could be utilized as a bedroom.
but I think it's not going to be closed in.
It's gonna be a therapy room, yeah.
It's going to be what?
Therapy room.
There, still could be used as a bedroom.
We'll take the closet out, that's fine.
So exactly what parts of this, I mean, I understand you need wider access, you need, the bathrooms probably need to be bigger, you need bigger, I mean, you know, we all understand that handicap requires some, like I said, larger doorways, larger bathroom to accommodate. What aspects of this are you looking at that that are required because of the handicap issue?
Meaning like it's for the
Yeah, tell me-
increased
yeah.
size of the doorways and the alleyways.
Yeah, I mean,
between-
what is driving the 1,800 square feet from 900 square foot? That, I mean, we have a requirement that says you can't, matter of fact, in your case, it's more like 780 square feet. So what additional, what aspects of the handicapped are driving the increase in requested space? I mean, because like I said, wider doorways, a bigger bathroom, I can understand that. But doubling the size, I'm having a hard time understanding how the handicap aspects of that is implemented because, with that size of a building.
But you also have 3 people.
You can't, I'm sorry, you can't, you have to come to so let Sean talk, and if you need to talk,
Well, you're going to have a caretaker living there also.
well, that's the other bedroom, yes.
Yes, right, correct. But also, you're talking about wider hallways, wider around islands.
But I don't see any of that in here. There's no hallways.
There is no hallways. All there is
There's no hallways.
So would it be preferable if we came up with a floor plan that showed exact dimensions to everything to see?
and
how
you
it
actually have
divided?
three bathrooms? I mean,
Two.
then what's this what's over here?
That's three.
Isn't this a bathroom
Well, yeah,
here?
what's in this?
Isn't this a bathroom here, and isn't this a bathroom here?
It's sort of a double bathroom.
So Jack and Jill. Then what, can someone then tell me what is this room here?
Right here.
What is this room? So do you really need a mudroom? I mean, like, it,
What we're going to have to, what we are going to have to understand, see, our word is a reasonable expansion from 780 square foot. More than doubling it, I would have a hard time justifying to myself that that's a reasonable expansion due to handicap, unless you can actually show me what where the expansion is, due to the handicap. I mean, this is essentially a three-family house.
and also.
This is bigger than my house.
Yeah, so also, it's been contradictory. The third bedroom is for a caretaker, or a third bedroom will be a therapy room? Because basically on here, it says the third bedroom will be a therapy room. So I would like to know exactly, is there 3 bedrooms because there's going to be the parents, the daughter, and a live-in full-time caretaker?
No,
Or-
the parents are going to be the caretaker. What we anticipate in the future is going to be hard to tell.
Well, exactly, I mean, but while they're still around and capable, they will be the caretaker, and if
Right,
the time comes,
right, exactly.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Roger?
What we have to be concerned about is, if we were to grant this, it is granted forever. So if the current residents leave and somebody else takes over the property, this could become something entirely different. My other question here is you talk about, you got this big garage with a radiant floor needed for future. Exactly what does that mean? You're going to make this more living space? What's
Obviously, under this.
what do you need, what's the radiant heated, if needed for future mean?
So I'm installing radiant,
Name and address so that we can.
Ron Franker, I own the property.
Okay.
So I'm installing radiant heat in there just in case I need it for the future. Her van's gonna go in there, all the equipment to take care of the property is gonna go into that garage. Right now, I have a temporary building on the property, just holding the equipment that I have to take care of the road. It's 700 feet in the woods.
Yeah, yes.
I got a big road to take care
Yes.
of, and we had a lot of snow this winter, so that's the reason I have equipment to do that. So that's the size of the garage, and, I don't know if I'm gonna heat it. I'm gonna put radiant heat in it, just in case if I do need it, I'll use it. But I've been in a garage before with radiant, and it's very nice.
Yeah, see, what was bothering me is a radiant floor needed for the future, that almost appears to me like we're gonna make it into more living space.
No, I don't need.
Why would you-
I don't need any more. It's gonna be a garage.
Well, see, and this is where my first comment comes in. What you do with it and the people who buy the house after you do with it could be entirely different. And we have to look at the life of this for the net, forever. Because once we grant this, it's granted forever. So we have to know what it is we're doing before we
I'd be more
grant
satisfied
it.
that if you want to build a garage, but don't attach it to the ADU.
Roger,
But we still have a problem with the fact that the ADU is
A few
as big as a
minutes.
house.
a few minutes ago, you said something about 800 and some square feet. Where's that from?
That was, if you, what I read previously is that the main house is 758 square foot. Half of that is 879 square foot. So 879, you got this, from the Roger Passon.
Okay, because the applicant, that was one of my problems. The applicant is applying for an ADU. ADU requires 900 or half.
Which is 879.
But no more
Right, but
than,
that's not from the applicant,
No,
okay, all right?
yes,
The existing dwelling is shown on here, and they don't even show the square footage of it.
right,
In the application.
correct.
They don't show the square footage of it.
Right.
So how are we supposed to figure out, I don't take what the neighbor says. The neighbor went around measuring the inside the house and all
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Didn't appear so.
Right, and I did, before this meeting, I had asked, well, weeks ago, I had asked Maria to contact the owner to say, one of the things we're gonna have to know is, what is the square footage of the house?
Right.
Because that is part of our requirement, that it can't be more than half, the number is 900 square foot, or half the square footage of your house, whichever is smaller.
That's right.
So we have to know what the square footage of the house is.
So I consider that an incomplete application. Because they don't give us enough information to do what they're looking for.
Right.
again, I'm not sure if, I think as long as
think it
we
makes
know
a
what it is
difference.
right now, I think it doesn't make I don't think it will impinge our ability to make a decision tonight.
No.
That was missing, as long as we
I
can get the.
understand, they're wanting us to make something that's going to go against that.
Yeah,
But what's the that,
but
you know?
I can look up the property record card right now and tell you.
We
but-
can do that, but that's not our
It's
function.
actually in the,
But it just.
But I think
Make a difference.
we can dispose of this matter today, rather than going
Yeah.
back and having them put another
Right.
application in the expedience, is
I
what I'm,
think there's other issues.
well, yeah, and I think it doesn't matter really how big
Right.
the primary house is, because it's still over 900 square feet. That's the issue. And the issue, the 900 square feet, if you remember, our original ADU requirements was 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, right? The state decided you could have one by a matter of right, 1 ADU per property as a matter of right, as long as it wasn't over 900 square feet. It's always been 900 square feet for us, give or take a little bit of extra room to accommodate either a pre-existing structure or a handicap. As Roger says, you're building a whole nother house. I personally can't justify it. And it is nothing, I mean, I would like to actually explore the possibility of rescinding the 1985 condition regarding that property of subdivision, if we can do that. That was where I would like to take this, but I don't know if we can.
yeah, that's,
And what is the reasoning for?
To have 2 lots with 2 single-family homes on it. But they can't because the 1985 or 80-ish decision said when it granted the right to build on that property because of the lack of frontage, that they were not allowed to further subdivide, so.
John, is there a bylaw that would allow them to subdivide it if we went that direction?
If we were allowed to subdivide it, you could cut this into 2 lots.
You could make it under what subdivision? I mean, because you're gonna make the frontage?
No.
Yeah,
To do that?
you create basically
That's
what
what
we
I'm
call
saying.
stub road,
Stub road.
and that's for waivers on most of the
So it would require some waivers, a decision by some board? Planning board?
planning board would have.
Planning board. Attorney Blake, can you chime in on this?
Chime in on that.
There was a decision in 85, actually, it started in 84, but there was a variance granted to allow the construction of a single-family house without meeting the frontage requirements, subject to the following conditions. So this was a zoning board decision in 85. The single-family dwelling must be constructed a minimum of 300 feet from Reed Road, and the lot shall not be further subdivided for building purposes. Is there a mechanism for reversing that?
I think that I suppose the property owner could come in and request a amendment to the variance? I don't know, who's the permit granting authority? Is that the planning board?
The planning board would grant a subdivision permit, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, we'd have to go before the planning board and ask to have it, I don't know about rescinded or modified.
Well, the question they had would basically, don't you have to go to the ZBA? Because the ZBA put a restriction on it that you can't subdivide it.
I asked what the permit granting authority was. Who?
Oh, the ZBA granted a variance for the original lot to build the house
right.
that restricted,
Yeah, so I think
Would they just come in with another variance?
I think they would,
They just come in with another variance,
which would have the effect of amending,
Right.
revoke. I think, I would prefer to see it amended rather than revoked.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm,
Yeah.
if I'm
Yeah,
splitting words,
yeah,
but,
because revoke is very strong.
and it takes it out and then it makes everything non-conforming or whatever, but at this point, you're going in to amend the variance and request that you can
To
use,
allow one split.
yeah, a common driveway down there and divide it into, you have plenty of lot area, right?
it's about, yeah, it's 8 acres, give or take. It's only a
So
half,
there's a
acre and a
ton.
half
Yeah,
minimum zoning.
and I think if you
assume
did,
that these appeal boards at that point, I was a member at one of them, would have been concerned about the lack of frontage and maybe overuse of the driveway. I don't know why they would have put that in every one of those decisions. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They just don't want two lots, but there's plenty of room.
yeah.
Weren't you on the board in 85, Jerry?
Is that?
Weren't you on the board in 85?
It's been on there since the beginning of time.
I know.
I suppose, Jerry, it's because you don't want to overuse the frontage, right? And two houses is more use than one.
Well, but we're doing the exact same thing if we would grant the ADU,
I know.
right? And
You know,
regardless.
Changes in law later.
Well, the
yes,
thing is,
you are 100% right.
and regardless of the size of the ADU, that could be a 500 square foot ADU, and you would still have the same amount of traffic going on there.
Right.
And that was what the concern is, you don't want to have so much traffic going up that laneway, up that small frontage
Right.
to disturb the neighbors. But the fact that they can legally put an
Legally do this.
ADU on it,
Right.
saying that means you could have other people, not our old bylaws, because you weren't allowed to rent them, but now you can. So to protect the community, I think the much more prudent thing is to wait to do whatever we need to do to get over that portion, because then it's two lots in perpetuity, and you don't have to worry about
Well, yeah,
what someone else is gonna do
I
to
guess
it.
they have really two options. One is to
Make
make
it
the
to-
ADU that conforms to requirements.
Or closer to the requirements. I mean, not so.
Reasonably.
Yeah,
Reasonable
yeah.
is the word.
And I think the reason why to me, the reason of the 900 square feet, and then the fact that we could allow it bigger, because what if the primary house was 900 square feet? So that then the ADU would only be
450.
450, and let's say you had to it was somebody who was disabled, we're gonna allow to go with that. But I think the spirit of the law here, or the rule of both the state and our previous thoughts on our zoning bylaw here was that 900 square feet was really the maximum, but we could kind of go over a little bit if we had to, and we've gone to like 950, you know, but, you know, almost 800 more square feet, and I understand this is a special situation because it's, you know, you're having, you know, a caretaker who's their parents who want to live comfortably versus a caretaker who's just a caretaker for one person who's living there. But, you know, as Roger says, you really haven't mapped out really why everything needs to be this big. Like, I would like to see, if you really wanted to say that was really due to their daughter's disability, that everything needed to be to this scale, I'd like to see, you need, you know, this much room to get past with the wheelchair here, you know, how, you need all that room in here, you know, does the master bedroom need to be that big, or can it be smaller? And there's obviously the bedroom for the disabled individual needs to have enough of clearance for a bed and whatever equipment that is required. You know, the therapy room, you know, again, it's been, you know, it's saying it's a bedroom, but then it's a therapy room, then we're taking a closet out, and then, you know, there's somebody else living there. So, I mean, I think if either, I think Roger said, if you can kind of shrink it to the point of where you can say that why everything is necessary.
Yeah, like, if I look here at the layout, there's nothing in here as far as doors or accessway that does not make it handicap accessible. There's nothing in here that I can see that is forcing that, where the X square footage is required because of handicap. I just don't see it.
Yeah. Neither. I mean,
It's just a, you know, it's a house.
Yeah,
Through the chair, can I
you need a mudroom? I mean, like,
But
yeah, it's not reasonable.
yeah, I think it's.
Through the chair, just so I can get, we obviously have two options here tonight. To continue, come back with a revised plan that what you would deem more suitable for your bylaw, or amending, and I'm not sure how we do that, as an application to you.
You said a variance, right?
Is it,
I think it would be a
It'd be a-
amendment.
Then
Just a variance.
it's in our, then is the whole thing in our purview?
I believe that the variance is in your purview.
Purview.
But I think once you do
yeah,
that,
it's still gonna go back to the planning
it's
board.
gotta go to the planning board to split the law.
Right.
Right.
okay.
But they always look to us.
Can I have 1 minute with the
Yes.
client?
I mean, they always look to us if
Well,
you're
no, what we
allowing.
would do is, again, if they went that route, and again.
If we decided-
If we
yeah.
agreed upon the variance, then that would then allow them to break it into
Yeah.
two parcels.
Yeah.
And since there's enough square footage, you need 60,000 square
They
foot.
came to us first, because if they would go to the planning
They
board
couldn't go to
first,
them and come back to us.
They
We
would
could
say,
go, nah.
you gotta go to the zoning board, right?
Right, so,
I did ask,
but it's still, it would be a two-step process.
I did ask if, the engineer if they could put, you know, could they do that? Could they split it into,
Yeah.
per our current rules? And
Yeah.
he said yes, so.
Well, because it's 4-point-something acres, and that's more than twice.
Yeah, well, it depends on things like,
Wetlands and,
things,
Right, correct.
ledges, is.
Yes,
all
you're right,
different
you're right.
things. Sean,
John?
could you, could they, build what they want to build without variances or whatever, if you did split it into lots? In other words, could that second lot accommodate a house without conditions?
We could, whatever you want to call it, the structure could be conforming to zoning, yes.
Well, but what that means is that you worry about wetlands, you're gonna have to have a well, you're gonna have a septic.
We
All
show.
of that would have to go on that property.
Yeah, we show where the well is gonna go. We haven't been able to have a septic because the town hasn't been doing new construction perk tests since December.
Oh,
oh, because of snow.
So
by the
we've
way.
been waiting and we've
But
been.
what we're asking is that, can you make two acre
Yes.
lots and still have the room you need to put the septic and the well on that one's
On this one, yes. The answer to your question is yes. It's gonna be, this lot here is gonna be somewhat strange looking, what you would refer to
We
as
have
a
a
pork
lot of
chop.
things looking at.
Yeah, with a pork chop, but it was a preference, but it was
No,
kind
you
of,
have, and the house now sits on a hill, there's a big drop off.
Yeah.
And then it flattens out again.
and that's exactly where this house.
That's
would
where
be.
that goes.
Yes, exactly.
It goes where? On top of the hill, right?
No,
No.
this.
gonna go-
That's on the top of the
It's
hill.
going to go down on Primrose.
It's flat.
Flat.
Primrose is much higher. They wouldn't even see this.
Right. Now,
Yes.
understand that if you applied for a variance, doesn't mean we're gonna grant it. I mean,
Understood. So.
there would be another hearing just for that, if you went that road.
Well, what we're aiming for, because of what the 900 square foot, this isn't going to fit the needs of what they need to do
Okay.
with the person themselves, and have a caretaker resident or a bedroom there. And we discussed this early on about subdividing, but we were kind of limited by, obviously, the decision in '85. So what we'd like to do is possibly continue this till June and possibly put an application in the meantime for the variance or the modification to the variance. Because we don't want to paint ourselves into a corner and shoot ourselves in
Yes.
the foot at the same time.
And I think, like, what I'd like to see for the variance for to modify the restriction is to be absolutely certain.
Okay.
You can divide those into two
Well,
lots. And have everything independent of each other. Because the last thing I want to do is to release that, to modify that variance, and then you're going to say, well, one lot's got to be 1.5 acres, and the other lot's got to be 2.5. That is not what I want, because then it just starts opening up the big can of worms.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I want to make sure you can actually get two 2-acre lots out of that land.
Two fully independent lots with two fully independent
Well,
houses.
there'll be two conforming lots, is that,
Yes,
that's
yeah,
what
fully
you're saying? Yes,
conforming
yes,
lots.
Other
okay.
than the
But
frontage.
have that shown to us and be clear when you're asking for the variance modification.
You'll,
Because I don't want what to happen is we modify that variance to allow it to be subdivided, and then something else comes up later on that it can't be subdivided into two conforming lots. 'Cause I would say if we were to grant that variance, I would only agree to granting that variance if there can be two conforming lots.
because one of
And
the,
I don't want to go through the trouble, then all of a sudden you come back to us and ask us for another variance because one of those lots are not going to be conforming.
because this is going to be difficult, because one of the problems, or one of the issues that will come up, we can create lots, but nothing's official until the planning board actually
Well, yeah.
approves it.
Right,
So.
correct.
And one of the things we're going to need to do is we create basically what we call stub road, and we ask for waivers on the construction to create the frontage for the two lots. And that stub road is going to require waivers from the planning board, because we have 54 feet of frontage, and to have a 40-foot right-of-way, which is the minimum allowed in town, with 30-foot radius fillets, you need 100 feet of frontage. We do not have 100 feet of frontage, so we would ask for a waiver on the fillets. Now, they typically grant those for these type of situations. I don't say it's absolutely sure they grant it, but they typically grant it because it's not really a big deal. It's not like we have super traffic coming in and out of this driveway, and there's plenty of room to get in and out. That would be my only
Yeah.
concern with that, because.
There's always a concern because you never know when you go to the planning board, but I
Right.
think I think if you would go to the planning board first, they would deny it just based upon of the 1985 decision. So I think
Correct.
coming to us first,
But when you say you would only do it when you know there's the lots would have the area, it would be the roadway would need a waiver.
yeah.
That would be,
Yeah,
that would be my concern, so
No,
I can't guarantee that,
Yeah, I mean, the
Right.
roadway taken
Okay.
out of that, right?
Okay,
Yeah, you need to have the square footage, you need to make sure they have a well, a septic,
Well,
The septic-
and you put the house in, that it meets all the setback requirements, Essentially, it's a buildable lot with the,
yeah, even though they're not allowing perk tests, and I'm not sure when that will start up again for new construction, I'm pretty confident this will perk, this is a giant gravel pit.
I have
It's not gonna problem.
Question for,
You'd have to perk it anyway for the ADU.
Right, we've been waiting
Question for
since,
Attorney
we've had
Blake.
4 different schedules.
we have not run into this at this point, but this new state law kind of adjust some things. My question is this: the state law indicated that municipalities can still have dimensional requirements and so forth, as long as it's not to discourage ADUs or make them impossible. My question is this, that under our regular town bylaws, a single family requires 150-foot frontage and 60,000 square feet. But if you add another unit to it, it's 200 square feet.
200 feet frontage, yeah.
Foot frontage and 80,000 square feet. The 80,000 is not an issue here, but do you see that? You now have two units on a lot, assuming we don't subdivide. And would the 150 to 200 be another issue for an ADU?
I don't think it would
Or
be.
ADU somehow?
I don't think it would
Yeah.
be. I think you would piggyback off that variance that was already granted, because it's an accessory dwelling unit, accessory to the
You're talking about
reg.
if we went with a variance for a second lot?
No, I'm
No,
talking
right.
about if you didn't go with the variance and you just went with an ADU.
Yeah.
I don't think that would affect those type of dimensional requirements, because it's just going off, certainly for the frontage, you already got a variance for that, and it's an ADU, so it's
Right.
part of
We've
the.
never had a requirement for frontage on ADUs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if they did an ADU, they could do what they're doing. If they had shrunk that down to whatever, let's say 900 square feet because of the necessary modifications, I think that what the plan they put before you would work,
Right,
zoning wise.
right.
So the new state law, in effect, kind of overrides our town law about frontage and square footage?
No.
for-
No, because we've
No.
always had
There
accessory.
was never a frontage component regarding when people ask for ADUs.
Right.
Because it's accessory to,
We have never done that.
Yeah.
We never considered
well, no.
frontage. We never did.
But we always, I mean, I think we did when we made sure there was parking and things like that, but I don't think we ever, I'm not sure if we ever had I mean, at least in my tenure, an ADU request that had a house that had a frontage issue.
Well, and we didn't expand the frontage requirement because of the ADU.
Right.
That's not what you do with ADU.
Right, exactly.
I think you would run I think that the state, you would run afoul if you say it's 100 feet frontage and then if you're gonna put an ADU in, it's 200. I
Yeah.
think you would run afoul of the
That
law.
would be
Yes.
That would be more
discouraging.
restrictive.
Discouraging,
ADUs.
absolutely, yeah.
Is
That would make ADUs impossible unless,
Well, and it'd be more restricted than the state law, which we're not allowed to do.
right?
But they
You can only
do
make it more limited.
specifically say, if I recall.
I think it's for like setbacks and stuff, Jerry. I think you can say you can't
say
build it right on the lawn.
Dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
requirement.
And you're right, that would be, I suppose if your bylaw said you have to have an additional 25 feet of frontage or something like that, but I do think that at some point you would run afoul.
Yeah.
You know, making these basically the poison pill.
Right, right, yes.
I'm sure some towns in the state are doing that.
Okay,
Okay, so I think our request is a continuance on this particular application.
June, we're,
I don't know if we can get everything done by June as far as,
well, we can move it out further.
Yeah.
Could I ask for something first? And that is, we obviously have some people who are not satisfied with this letter.
I think we should hear yeah.
I think if there's anybody here
We
for
can hear
this
from them
hearing,
first.
I
Yes.
think we should hear
Yes.
some of that, so that might guide them in
Yes,
what.
before we,
And I
before we
especially, I
vote
went
on
down-
this motion.
I went down Primrose Lane, and you can't even see up on you can see a rooftop, but I don't know with this other one, where that would go, whether it'd be out there. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, that rooftop is on top of a hill, and then it drops off quite steep.
the view from that is amazing.
I can imagine, yes.
I couldn't get past the gateways. There's a gateway on the frontage, so I didn't go
Oh.
into the property.
Okay.
I didn't want to get shot.
Yeah, I did.
You know?
You did. Crazy.
So I guess our request is, do you want us to go to the planning board?
No, I think you have to come to us first.
Okay.
Because if we don't grant it, planning board,
Is this gonna go,
So let me ask this question, and maybe through you to town council. So if I come in with, and I show a lotting scheme that shows 2 lots that meet the requirements, and for some reason, there's a minor modification at the planning board, they want me to extend the road 10 feet or do something, I don't know, I'm just theorizing. Do I have to come back and modify it again? Or will the modification be for 2 visual lots and the road? Obviously, if we went 3 lots, it'd be a different story, but we're
I
talking.
think we can probably word it, if in fact we were to grant it, we could probably word it such that, relative to, if modifications with planning board, as long as it matches the zoning requirements.
Because my concern is if we go to planning board, Primrose Lane is still going to have a problem, even though we're meeting the zoning
Well,
requirements.
they're probably going to have a problem here as well, so.
Yeah, yes.
We can
so-
talk about.
But the option would be, we modify this to 900 square feet or something
Yep.
that you would deem more reasonable and come in with an ADU. I guess it'd be a special permit at that point.
It's yeah, it would be a grant, it says it may grant reasonable and necessary accommodations relative to ADUs for persons with disabilities, and we're calling it a special permit at this point. I think it has to be something, you're gonna want
Right.
something, and, unfortunately, it doesn't fit in it. I think the only place it fits is a special permit.
Right.
I think the state rule actually referenced it, especially, like, we were allowed.
We can do a special permit, right, right, for bigger ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to Jerry's point is that we would really like to know if you decide to make this smaller, we really want to know the exact square footage of the primary structure,
So if we,
Well, if it, okay.
right? If
Yeah.
if they decide to shrink it, let's say they're going to go to 1,200 or even to 1,000, it's still, we still need to know what we're going after, because I still think half of the primary is less than 900, so you would have
But
to,
if they make that a separate lot, we're not dealing with
No, I'm
it.
just
No, no,
saying,
he said
if they,
if you say with the ADU.
they're not sure which way
they
they're
do?
going to go.
well, we're hoping that everything goes well, planning board wise, but I can't promise anybody anything at that point. Because it's the same thing. If we ask for a waiver of planning board and Butter decides to appeal the granting of the waiver, we'll be in court for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why I think
Yes.
tonight, actually, and then the night in which we perhaps modify that variance, Primrose Road will have enough of a chance to talk, which will help us make our decisions, either on a smaller ADU or or that ADU right now, or us modifying that.
Understood.
It's-
I mean-
I think everything should to be fleshed out by then, but you never know.
So if you're going to ask for a continuance, tell us when.
I think, we'll shoot for June.
Excuse me?
The 10th?
Shoot for June, because I think we
You
can
come in
go,
in June, say, I'm not ready yet, we'll continue it again.
we almost finished the whole subdivision process the plans for the planning board. And then this issue came up with you can't further subdivide. And we kind of got stuck in the mud basically instantly,
Right?
which is now.
We have a continuance on June 10th.
We can shoot for that. for
Yeah.
sure.
Or if you want, I mean, again, if you
Well,
want
Don't
to,
Don't
if
have
you want
to,
to,
I mean,
Well, we can always, I guess, continue it then, but I think what we can do is we can go in, I don't know the planning board schedule right off the top of my head, with perhaps a pre-app consult to get the feeling that what we've got drawn up and what we'll show to you will fly.
and then,
Then
Because they-
you're gonna have to apply for the zoning board to do a variance.
I'll have to
In
explain
between
this
that-
I'll have to explain this all to them, and I'm sure they're gonna be.
I mean, again, I think if they wanted to do a pre-conference, I'm sure one of us would volunteer to be part of that, to.
That would be helpful,
I think,
because,
I think we should also hear from, I mean, you do what you need to, ask for your continuance, but I still want to hear from the audience about,
Yeah, I just had a comment on the ADU. I think it would be really positive for your explanation if you could basically start with what would be a 900 square foot structure and explain why the additional footage is required. For example, a 900-foot structure could be a one-bedroom, one living room, but because you need an aide to live with you, I think that would justify another 100 square foot for a bedroom.
But it's actually.
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
Similarly for the garage, if it involves a handicapped van, especially all the snow that we've had, there is arguably a necessity to have an enclosed garage. And I think that would be a better explanation.
Well, I think the
big?
garage would be better off being
Questions here.
detached. because
Well,
then
no, because with a van, you don't want to be pushing a wheelchair through snow.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So you would want it to be
yes,
attached.
that's true.
Yeah, that's what.
Yes.
But I think if you could explain it in that frame where you take what would be an allowed structure and explain why you need it to be this much bigger, that it would answer a lot of the questions that were properly raised tonight.
Understood.
But also, it might not be 900 square feet, because you gotta do the calculation,
850.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
For example, there's lifts. You know, if you have somebody who needs a lift, it requires a certain amount of space, and the rooms may need to be larger. And I think it can be reasonably well quantified to justify what would be a larger building for an ADA person than would be for the
just-
normal.
Yeah,
Just so I'm clear, so
Unit.
the garage portion of this, outside the living space, non-living space, I'll call it garage, are we limited as part of the gross area of the whole application, or? Because we kind of need an oversized garage for the van and ramp.
Yes, as long as it's not living space, then that doesn't, that's not part of the ADU. Is that right, Attorney Blake?
I'm trying to
As
look
long
at.
as you can't make into living space.
I still wish the state would.
Couldn't we
define that
put a
for us.
restriction? Accessory dwelling, a self-contained housing unit inclusive of sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities on the same lot as a principal dwelling, subject to the, it has to maintain a separate entrance, is no larger in gross floor area than a half, in gross floor area. Let me look and see what your gross floor area is.
yeah.
Nearly 3,000, give or take, with the garage, if we call in the garage part of the gross. That's why I'm asking this question.
But I think, I don't, yeah, I mean, that's a question of itself, but again, here, it's labeled as a shop. I think to Kevin's point, it should be, it should be labeled here,
Understood.
here's the size of the van, here's the lifts, the space you need to get in and out of the van, and maybe perhaps for future times in which the individual will be actually driving, if, again, not knowing the disability, and nor should we, nor am I asking, is that this individual may be able to drive at some point and maybe need space to be able to get in and out of the driver's seat. And if you could just put that in this garage space, I think to Kevin's point, it makes us feel a little bit like we're just not saying, well, you just have.
No, understood.
Still like to hear from Attorney Blake, though, is the garage also considered as part of the ADU?
I'm looking because you say here that your gross floor area is defined as set forth in 760 CMR 7102. Unfortunately, my computer, for some reason, its Wi-Fi doesn't work, but
I'll see if I can get it up.
have no fear, my,
Your phone never fails.
That's really going to change the whole law if we start saying that all ADUs can have, of 900 feet, can have garages basically as big as they want.
gross floor area, the sum of the areas of all stories of a building of compliant ceiling height pursuant to the building code, including basements, lofts, and intermediate floored tiers measured from the interior face of the exterior walls or from the center line of the walls separating buildings or dwelling units, but excluding crawl space, garage, parking areas, attics, enclosed porches, and similar spaces.
So it excludes garage?
Excluding.
Okay,
And that's the state law,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, that's the building code.
okay,
And you guys, you incorporate the definition in the building.
okay.
But if they legally get this second lot, that's.
Right, that's a different,
Out
yeah,
the window, right?
that's out the
Right,
window,
but
that's a
they're
different.
still going back, I think that the applicants have not decided which way they would
Well, they're
like to
going
go
to,
yet.
they're going to actually pursue both mechanisms and see which one works the best.
Well, the reason we're here is we had to come here because we couldn't go there.
All right.
So
Yes.
You could-
there weren't a lot of options
Yeah.
of what we could.
By the way, I don't know
You
if
could have come
I,
for a modification of the variance. That could have been the first one.
yeah, and I didn't know if I started off with this, but again, the members voting on this will be myself, Cynthia Kozekowicz, Jerry Catino, Constance Gee, and George Stelgis. So those would be the voting members on this, if I didn't say that in the beginning. So,
So we're continuing, I guess, this application.
to June 10th.
We will try to approach the planning board. I don't know what their planning schedule is, and I could probably,
Well, they go every other week, right?
they go every week, but sometimes they have full agendas and
Yeah.
other things going on, so I can't promise.
If we get to the 11th and you're not, or the June 10th, I mean, you can ask for another continuance. It costs you $100, but $100 in this project is probably not
I think
the major driver.
what we prefer is to build what they would feel comfortable building, and we're hoping to go that route, but I don't want
Yeah,
to
'cause-
shut off the other route.
Right.
Yeah,
basically,
because,
for
I mean,
Okay, so she has paper.
Right, I mean-
While you're doing that, I want to open it up to the audience. So anybody who has comments on either aspect of this, feel free to come up to the mic, just give me your name and address.
Don't all jump.
Downstairs.
Bring the microphone.
I'm Roger Poisson, the one that wrote
Okay.
that letter. So,
Name, address?
Well, it's 293 Driftwood Street, Fall River, Massachusetts. Okay. And I guess, one of the concerns is, once that, there's no, like you said, once it's allowed as an ADU, what happens with a three-bedroom house once it's no longer needed for the original purpose of the handicap people? So now that they're gone, they're going to be looking to rent it. It'll be rented into with a three-bedroom house, it'll be a family. It'll add to the school issues and so forth. And then if later on they decide they want to sell that property, now, and they want to split it, now we're going to, back here trying to get that all resolved. It's how can we split this property, and this goes to this owner, and we retain that portion. So that's one of the issues that they have concern over. The other one, which is not really with this one, was the clearing of the property that has occurred and the erosion that's occurring on that property, but that's another issue that I don't believe would be in the zoning board's purview. And as I see, the ADU was set up to say, hey, Kate, like, when my mother got to the point where Alzheimer's was a little bit too much for her to be living on her own, I brought her into my house. Now, I was living alone. I had room in my place to bring it in. But if I had a family and I needed an additional space for that person, I can see where the ADU would be to require, take either a garage and convert it, or put an addition, a separate house, But usually it would be with the main caregiver would be the ones in the main house and being close enough to take care of
Okay,
it.
can I interrupt you just for a second?
Go ahead.
So I can tell you what the state law is. A couple of years ago, Massachusetts said there is a housing shortage.
Yeah.
In order to help alleviate housing shortage, the state mandated that ADUs are by right, and that doesn't mean that they have to be for handicap or for whatever. It's extra housing. Isn't that
Extra housing.
correct, Attorney Blake?
Yep.
Yeah, you got it.
So,
It could be anybody.
we've been using it in Westport mostly over the past several years as, like family members and just like you were talking. But the state law mandates that that's not the case. It is a by right for additional housing.
Right. And specifically.
And that's what we have to go by.
And specifically, we can't, like, our previous bylaw before this state mandate was you couldn't rent your ADU.
Right. We still can't.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can under the new
Can't-
law.
The new law, you can.
We can't do short-term rentals.
Term rate.
Right, you can't short-term rent.
No short-term, right.
But we also said you couldn't long-term rent on the ADUs. Originally. The state law
Now you can do that.
mandates we have to allow
Right.
long-term rentals in ADUs.
Right.
Our bylaw restricts short-term rentals in ADUs.
So anyway,
Anyway, that's,
after the, what happens after,
Right.
how does that change?
well, that's where, by right, they can put an ADU on there and have a family living there as long as it matches the 900 square foot maximum. So we cannot, they have a right to do that according to state law and according to our own bylaw. So the options are either they come down to 900 square feet roughly, just let's call that the number, and put anybody they want there, whether it be a handicapped person or rent it out to another family, they can by right do that. The other option is that we could subdivide the lot and just essentially make it 2 lots so they could officially do that. So it's going to be, it could be one or the other. One of them, they have the absolute right to do without, with our blessing, because we can't impose more than what the state law says is allowed.
And, right, if they decided if it was only a 900 square feet or roughly, they wouldn't have come to us. All they would have to do is
Right.
the building department, get a building permit, and you would never, nobody would have known.
Nobody would have known.
Because it's the way the state law is. It's only because they're asking for larger space, that's why they're here. And, they have 2 options. They have to prove to us that this large space either is absolutely required to fit the needs of what they're trying to do, or go the route of splitting the property into 2 lots, and then we don't have to worry about what happens later, because now it's just 2 lots. And I think the state law also would be on our side with that, because the state law did require, the whole spirit of that law was to increase housing. And by us, if we decide to allow to modify that variance, that's exactly what we're doing. So I think the state's on our side on that.
Okay.
Our
that
bylaw, the town's bylaw, prior to the change, required the owner to live in one of the units, no matter which one. The state law specifically says the owner doesn't have to live on either one. They can rent both of them, so that's another change.
Okay, are you done, or you got more?
Anything else?
By the way, I don't think the state law addresses more than one, but it appears to
It does.
allow.
It does, special
more than-
permit.
Right, but we don't.
Yeah, by special permit, we can allow even more than
Right.
I
one.
think it says shall by special permit.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Name and address?
not by right.
Rebecca Kristen, 14 Primrose Lane. So I live in the property that is at the back of that drop.
Yeah.
So we've seen, just from when they've purchased the property till now, they did put up that temporary building that's up there that they referenced. The runoff and the trees that have been taken down is affecting the back of my property. So my fear, seeing that they want to put up another house that's bigger than the original, is that there's going to be more trees that are taken down. The trees that are taken down have root systems that are all holding that hill up that are just behind my property. So I'm dealing with runoff. I have to look to the future that it's going to cost me money to stabilize that, which changes. So now I have to pay, to have my property surveyed again so I can see where that is. And then I'm going to have to bring in, fill. So when the people, this property was my parents' property. I purchased it from them. So I've lived there my entire life. When that property was originally, I remember when it was built, and I remember when they wanted to make 2 lots, and they weren't able to. And I remember the discussion around it. And so when my parents talked about that way back then, it was not as big of a deal because there was only going to be 1 house back there. Now there's going to be 2 huge houses back there. That's definitely impacts the environment. We all have wells, we all have septic systems. Our neighborhood, all of my neighbors are here, but we all have multi-generational. So I own the property that my parents owned, multiple people in our neighborhood, it's parents, grandparents, grandchildren, all sharing the houses. So we all understand the need to take care of our own. But I'm concerned about the impact, the environmental impacts and the impact it's gonna have on us. I look out my kitchen window now and see that they've taken down all the trees. I have pictures from 2 years ago, and now I see the back of their temporary building. It's their right to put that there. It's very close to the edge of the hill, which concerns me because, again, erosion. So those are the things that, looking ahead, I look to, depending on where that house is gonna be put, and it's a really big house, you know, is it gonna impact my neighbors as well? Their septics, their wells, how the runoff's gonna change? Because we know when we take down trees, that all is impacted.
Well, the one thing is if it does go into a second lot legally, when they build a house, there's gonna have to be a stormwater plan,
Right.
right?
There's gonna-
So then that would
Versus-
concern me too. We need to see how that's gonna,
Well-
where that's gonna run off to, because the river's there too.
Right, I mean, and they'll have to fight that battle with the planning board and the
And conservation
committee.
will be part of
Right,
that.
so
that
in
goes
one
on.
When I did a small addition to my house, I moved a wall,
Yeah.
and conservation had to come out.
Yes.
I'm
I know.
Yeah.
a long way
And
from
one-
the river.
But again, I'm gonna say the same thing. They are allowed by right
To build a
to
900
put an
square.
ADU there. We can't stop them.
Right.
Of 900
And I mean,
square
our concern, honestly, is the size and how that's gonna impact everything down the road.
I mean, there's a lot of land there, so whether it's, you know, from a water runoff, well, as part of any building that they would put there, they would have to go through all the process of where's the water runoff, where's the, you know, is there wetlands there? I mean, all of that is part of getting a building permit
Oh,
and
I-
putting
I
something there.
I
So,
understand that.
and again, they are allowed to do it for an ADU without even
And,
requesting it.
right, but an ADU that's bigger than the original house by far.
Yes, it's-
That's a concern.
Well,
Right,
and
okay.
I think you heard us, I think we're concerned as well.
Okay.
And I
thank you.
appreciate you hearing us.
Thank you. Anybody else? Name and address.
My name is Clifford Brown. I abut, runs on Primrose Lane side and at 102 Reed Road, that's where I grew up. So where that is, that buffers his sons in the back on the hill. That 102, it goes all the way up. So where he goes in is only a small place he goes in, then his land kind of goes over this way.
Yeah.
Toward my backyard on Primrose Lane now. So I'm worried about the size too, because we all have modest homes, you know? And, I mean, he put up not a permanent garage up on the hill. They cut down all the pine trees that holds that hill up. That's what I'm concerned about. We're already seeing runoff in their backyard. There's a big tunnel coming down like that.
Yes. But I think you'll actually be better off when they put a house there because they're gonna actually have to look at and manage all the water runoff.
Yeah.
Putting a shed there, they don't have to do that.
But that's why a lot of water's running down off of there now.
Yes, I know, but because they didn't have to go through that process. But when you put a house up or an ADU, conservation has to be involved. They're gonna have to go through all the process, which means stormwater management, runoff of water from the roof, all that has to be taken into account. So they may have to put in, holding ponds and whatever.
Yeah.
In order to actually build something.
I don't think you have enough room for holding ponds. He said he's got, I don't even know if he's
Like
got
I
8
said,
acres, but that's what he said he
They're gonna,
has.
that has to be managed, whether they put an ADU or a
Yeah.
house on it.
I'm just concerned about the size because
I-
of the, what's my property gonna go down in value? You know, right in my backyard, I'm gonna have this monstrosity, you know?
Yep,
So I'm just voicing my concern, you know?
okay, thank you.
Right?
Anyone else? Sean? When you have to read the request.
By the way, I lived there for over 50 years in the
here's
same
one.
place, almost 70 years ago.
Here's another person who has.
Is there somebody else? Okay.
I'm Jessica Kirkwood. I live on 4 Primrose Lane, and these are my neighbors. It is the house that most of us have grown up in, multi-generational. I take care of my mom. My mom is a disabled, handicapped person, In our house, we could probably have added stuff on. I have handicap ramps. I have the guardrails. I have all this stuff, but we didn't do anything like this size house. And I do agree with what they're saying. It will affect a lot of things, but I just don't understand the severity of, like, I mean, the monstrosity, as Butch echoed, like, why so big? You can make modifications to a house where I take care of my mom, my fiance, and my little baby. We all live together. We can all coexist with a more manageable, more sizable house. So that's all I really have to say
Okay,
about that, but thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Sean, you're up.
And Sean, one quick question, Sean. Is there a basement planned for,
No.
okay.
There is going to be, it has to be a runoff plan as,
So there-
if it was an ADU and we're doing a septic plan, we'd have to still have stormwater because.
Oh, yeah, but I was just wondering if you were going to be digging
Oh,
a
okay.
basement.
No.
That's all. So it's going to be a slab or footings or whatever they do.
Cynthia, was that question about a basement?
Yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be a basement, that's all.
I thought I read there there'd be an unfinished basement. I might be mixing it up with another.
Oh, yeah, it does say basement of the house, isn't it?
It says unfinished basement.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
Yeah, basement of house.
Basement of
will be
house will be
That's my memory.
Non-heated. Okay,
Okay.
good.
So I, Ron Frank Kerr, request that the hearing on petition be continued until 6:10. I understand that the deadline for making the decision will be extended accordingly.
Okay, we have a request for a continuance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? No? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. So we'll continue this till June 10th.
Who would I contact to get someone to go to the planning board?
Maria.
Maria? Okay.
And she's not going to go. You contact her. and-
Would this
I think
call
she
for,
should go.
Yeah.
would this call for a site visit? Would that call for a site visit so somebody could get in to actually see the property?
Probably when we get to, if they do a variance to do that.
We probably want to do that
Yes.
before we grant it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I drove there, but
Yeah,
I went through the sign saying don't drive, but.
I didn't,
I didn't go up.
I just said there was.
Okay, the last hearing we have is 231B Tickle Road, a hearing on application of Derek Ogles?
Yes.
All right,
You nailed it.
I got it. And Diane, is it? Danilin, I like that, Danilin, I like that. Raise for a finding that a construction of a 20 by 20 elevated deck addition attached to the existing dwelling with roof structure is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use of the neighborhood as mandated by zoning bylaw Article 523. The property is located at 231B Tickle Road, Westport, Mass. and shown on Assessor's Map 20 lots 70A and 70A and 71A. I want to make it clear to, when we start with, that of exactly what a finding is. A finding is, this is a non-conforming property that you want to make a modification to. According to our bylaws, in order to make a modification to a non-conforming lot, you need a finding that says it is not detrimental to the neighborhood. And what that means is that, does it affect safety? Does it affect, traffic? It's not, we're not looking at the aesthetics of it. That's not our bailiwick. And the other thing I want to make sure is that we all understand is the only thing that we are considering tonight is the finding that the construction of a 20 by 20 elevated deck, which is on the rear of the house, attached to the existing dwelling with the roof structure is not substantially more detrimental than the existing. Any other aspect of this is not part of this, it's, because it is not part of the application.
I thought it was an administrative appeal from,
This is a finding.
but I thought it was, we were here because Ralph issued
Oh,
a stop
and I-
work order.
Yes, he did. Yes, she did.
Can
but-
I
Right.
understand how this is all fitting in? Because there appears, according to the non-work order, there's more than a 20 by 20 deck being
Yeah,
put up.
well, yes, matter of fact, that's one of the things they should do is I will read Ralph's.
Are they appealing that decision, or?
No, it's, I'll read Okay, this is from Ralph Zuda, zoning enforcement officer. After a recent visit, the property is located, you have constructed a second-level addition, which is not part of your permit that was issued. The permit in question was issued on September 10, 2025 for replacing windows and replacing sidings and building a 20 by 12 deck canopy over the front door as per the Westport zoning bylaws. Pre-existing non-conforming structures or uses may be altered, providing there is a finding by the Board of Appeals that such an alteration should not be substantial or detrimental to the existing. So that's what prompted you to generate your petition. And again, it is because you built substantially more of your back deck than was on your original plans. Is that
So-
correct?
There's a little bit of confusion with that. My contractor, which is here, he had done the initial plans.
No, but before they, voting on this again will be myself, Cynthia Kazekowicz, Jerry Catino, Constance Gee, and George Stelgis, and it requires this is a finding, so it's a majority vote.
Okay. So the original plan, he was assisted when he came in to do the plan. That 20 by 12 or 12 by 20 that was there, that was technically supposed to be for the second floor. The 20 by 20 was for the first floor deck. Ralph was there, he went there and measured everything. We never stopped. At that time, I hadn't decided if I was gonna do the addition. At one point, we decided to do the addition. The contractor, he said coming back to amend it, had already started it. That's when the complaint came in, Ralph came down, saw the second thing, he put a stop work order. Once that happened, we stopped, we tried to get the plans, everything going, and we came back for the finding. And that's pretty much where we're at right now.
So then he's not appealing, then?
No, he's allowed me to stop work again. The only thing I had to do is stop work on that side where that is. I do have pictures. I wasn't able to get them here before. This
Okay.
is what it looks like right now. If you guys want to have a bunch of copies.
Yeah.
So this is not going to be an enclosed area. It's a big deck, but it overlooks Watapa Pond.
Yeah, so the 8-foot bump out is going to be an extension to the master bedroom. Then there's going to be like a hip roof. Kind of the picture on there that you're going to see that they kind of submitted, I put one that's a AI generated, finished one. That's what it's supposed to look like. The other one has a picture, same picture of roof. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be more flat.
Could I ask other board members, who all actually went and saw all of this?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, I drove out there, but it was down that lane, so I didn't go
Right,
down
it's
there.
down the lane, right down the driveway.
Yeah, and it says if you want to go to B, you've got to walk down this.
Yeah, you gotta go down this thing.
As a matter of fact, I was out and I chatted with this gentleman and a couple of the neighbors. They just happened to be there.
Because I personally feel that if you don't see it, you're not gonna understand a lot of this. And the other aspect is, we just got this tonight, and I think it's important, I think it's important for the applicant to know why Ralph is not here and specifically what he says. We're getting what Ralph.
Well, I read Ralph's letter.
No, Ralph, the reason why Ralph isn't here tonight.
No,
Yeah, well, I mean, I read the letter that prompted him requesting the
I
finding.
understand, but I'm talking about this letter where Ralph is now saying he's only given him the go-ahead to do what he asked for in his building permit.
Correct.
So in other words, he's gonna have to tear down some of this and so forth. So how can we find that a finding on what we don't know he's gonna put there?
But that's,
No?
I don't say, he's got, I'm not sure
No,
what
he's
you,
got a building permit.
yes.
2020 by whatever, and according to what Ralph told Maria here, if you read this, he exceeded that
He
by
exceeded
quite a
that.
bit.
Correct.
okay? So Ralph's not gonna let that go by.
Correct.
So how
Unless
do
we
we
have a
make-
finding that says that his current plans are not detrimental to the neighborhood.
His plan was a 20-foot.
No, his current,
You read that.
his updated plans. He's got,
But he's not, it doesn't have a permit for them.
no, that's the reason why you come,
So-
that's why you come for a finding.
I thought you had to
can't
get a-
get the finding, you can't get a permit
until you get the finding.
Until you get a finding.
He can still do the original stuff
but
for the
he's
permit,
already
which was
done
the
the
windows and
work.
the other stuff and
Right.
and the
He's done
deck.
the work.
That's all
but
we
not-
can do.
Right, but he's done more. Between him and Ralph, they've come to an understanding that he's not gonna proceed with the more until he gets approval that the more is allowed. And if the more isn't allowed,
We don't
then
have-
the more is coming down.
You have plans here for the more?
Yeah, here,
Well, I don't.
here,
I have an extra.
No, I have
here,
plans submitted.
yeah, we have this.
This was the original plan, he said AI generated.
He shows all the 2x6s, and I mean, it's a whole bunch of,
This is AI generated.
This is the more,
Oh, that is, okay.
quite a bit more.
Well,
I mean, it has to come here first because Ralph can't approve it. Because it is non-conforming. In order for him to go ahead, because it is a modification to non-conforming property, he has to have a finding from us to say that it's not detrimental, so that then he can get his building permit.
yeah, that what he's proposing is not substantially more detrimental.
Right.
Okay?
And what is kind of half done.
Yeah, but
I think it might be.
I got the idea that Ralph isn't particularly, he says that the petition is that they could finish what was covered under the permit.
Yes,
That was the permit that he gave,
Yes.
20 foot. But anything else would need a finding from the
right.
zoning.
And that's what he's here for,
Right.
based on his plans of what he plans to do.
Let's see what he presents.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then let's also see what the neighbors present.
Yes,
Okay, so kind of what happened with that whole, the contractor was gonna go get another permit from the other. He had already started work, instead of going for this before. We went back and we applied for the application for the, Ralph denied it, saying we need to come to the final. That's kind of what we did today.
right.
The contractor, the paperwork that you guys have from the contractor of what is gonna be there. The reason why I added the AI generated picture at the end is because it's not very, the picture of the roof is not right, so I wanted it to be more accurate. That's gonna be that's supposed to be the final image. I do have the contract is here if you have any questions about the building aspect.
Well, it says here that the roof was extended further than it was supposed to be, and is now too close to the neighbors.
But that's part of the original permit that that was approved.
There's an issue with the neighbors as of right now, about a different part of this building.
Not this part of it.
Has nothing to do with this, that was permitted. I have a permit for it, we built off the permit. The neighbor's not happy, saying that it's too close. It's very, very close proximity to there. The neighbor actually has a second deck balcony that's maybe an inch off of my property line. The houses are on top of each other.
Yes.
It just is what it is. So they're not happy about that. I do have a couple of pictures in there. We had talked that day, this is not supposed to be on there, so that's why I wasn't prepared for anything like that. The thing in the back, actually, nobody's actually complained about. That's why we came here for the finding, and that's what we're looking for, the finding in the back.
The rest of it, he has an approved permit for.
Okay.
This he doesn't. So he needs to come to us to get a finding to say that he can continue with this, or Ralph is gonna reject it because it is, because it's.
I do have pictures of what it looks like right now and the work that had already been done. If people need to see it.
I did have, when I visited, I had an opportunity to speak with Derek.
Thank you.
Just as I was walking, he was coming in, and also the neighbor there. So I think there's more to it than what you see.
Thank you.
Is that already built?
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
So what part of this was the
Yeah.
original permit for?
Right.
Was it only the bottom deck down here? or
None of
was
it.
this
None
deck-
of it.
Was all the-
That second floor deck is on
Yeah,
the.
yeah, the original permit had a deck on it, but it had this deck on it coming out of these, but not this here and this, and then you bumped out the house though, before you put
No.
the deck on.
Well, the top off. That.
Okay, that bump out is actually bumped out more than, so it would be coming down to here if you're, okay.
So, this is kind of on my end, obviously, I'm not the one that pulled the permits, I didn't know anything. So Ralph was showed up to the house several times for the footings. He was there checking it when that second deck was already putting there. Nothing was red, there was no red flags, that was never questioned, so I didn't know anything until he started building up that second floor. That's when he came in and said it wasn't on the permit, but the contractor hadn't altered the permit yet, we had it going on there, we handled it that way. I'm not here to make excuses about that not being on there, but then we were told, hey, listen, you gotta go for a finding, and that's where we're at today.
So, question, Roger, the original deck, which was the one here, that was permitted for, because I think we have the permit somewhere, or at least the request for the permit, would that even be allowed without a finding? Because it's, I mean, I don't know if that was, I mean, Ralph granted it,
Yeah.
so but to me, it sounds, because if you look at this deck, it, you know, you're sort of enclosing down below for the walkout. Looks like there's gonna be maybe some walls here. There's, you know, obviously they did a good job by putting the steps within this footprint of the deck, so they weren't coming out any further. But I'm even wondering if this original deck was,
Well, but
Should have been allowed.
regardless, I mean, we're
been
still
permitted.
stuck with
yeah.
Our job here is the back deck that he is proposing now, is it substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood?
Right.
That we could either accept or reject a finding
Yeah.
regarding that, so.
But
regardless of-
I guess where my problem is that, given the fact that this deck was permitted, this isn't going out any further than that deck,
Sally, I mean,
right? So it's not, so, you know, Ralph permitted this bottom deck. This top stuff, this bottom deck, Ralph permitted that.
Okay, now, are you calling that the back deck or the front deck? He's saying back deck.
back deck.
It's
Everything-
looking it's
All
towards
of
the
this has to
water.
do with the
Away
back
from-
deck,
Yeah.
It's only one side we're
That's the
looking at,
water
right?
side, right?
water side.
Water side,
Water side.
right?
Yeah, all,
Correct.
all the pictures you have is to the back of the house and the walls.
The water side, correct.
But some people would call the front, but
That's right.
I have the same problem with my house, we argue all the time. So if, my thing is that if Ralph already permitted that deck, at first blush, the rest of the structure doesn't go out any further than that deck.
So there is.
Well, not only that, but there's it's actually a fair, I mean, if you see the layout, it is not encroaching on property lines
Any more
towards,
than the deck.
towards Watuppa Pond.
No.
Yes.
No, that's the one place it isn't.
It isn't. That's the only place it isn't.
Right.
So it is not a zoning, it is not a property line issue as far as the back deck is concerned.
Correct.
So what we need to do is look at the plans for the back deck and say, is this substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood? And generate a finding based on that, whether, because that's what Ralph wrote in his letter.
And that second floor did have a smaller patio, probably about 8x6, extending out. I forgot to put the picture in there. So there was already a structure going off of that master bedroom that went out probably about 6 or 7 feet.
Well,
What does this indicate, that line?
I don't know, but this is the.
I understand that's the deck, but what does that line indicate? What does this line indicate? The,
Oh, that's for the well.
Oh, it's that distance of the well.
That's all from the septic to the
Oh.
well distance.
Oh.
They just rather than, yeah.
Okay, I was like,
It's
are
just
you-
the distance of the well.
Are you
Okay.
cocking it? Yeah, that's what I thought too. So look-
Which isn't very far, but that's beside, that's.
That's not our
that's
problem.
not our problem.
The one few things we don't have problem to do it.
I think it's a real disadvantage for us to continue thinking about this stuff without seeing it, or without Ralph being here, because
I do
it's
too.
very
No,
complicated.
I think,
Yeah.
no, I think it is, because I'm saying, well, if that deck is permissible, then everything else on top of it's permissible, because it's not going past that footprint.
Yeah, it is.
That's, no, it's not.
Yeah, look at this, what's that?
Now,
That's just-
on this picture that you,
Yeah, but it's not going out to this
Cynthia, the
neighbors.
picture that you showed me,
Yeah,
Where is it? Are you looking out toward the pond?
If I was
Yes.
standing on this deck, I'd be
You're looking at the
pond,
pond.
Yes.
right? So my thought
If you were
is,
standing there,
I-
you'd be looking, so
Yeah.
that's not the back of the house.
That's the back of the house.
yeah,
All right, okay.
because,
so-
yeah, I agree. I disagree with you because I have one side of my house facing the water and the other side not. I call the house not facing the water, the front of the house, and that's the back of the house.
Right.
Though somebody else in my household calls that the front of the house. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, the water
It should
side.
be clear.
The water side.
Because, it was my understanding that this one deck
Deck
is
was
what
permitted.
what we're looking for. And then this is what he's added, plus he added,
the enclosed
Derek,
structure.
am I right,
He bumped it out.
that you added?
Yeah, but not past the deck.
About 8 feet.
That's 8 feet. You can actually see on
8
the
feet. You
inside.
told me 8 feet out.
Yeah.
Onto this. This is the original house.
Yep.
Back there. And he's added 8 foot in the top there, which from what I gather, from what Ralph told Maria, that wasn't part of the
Right, it
the
isn't.
deal.
Right.
Okay?
Correct.
So we gotta decide if this structure here and
And
this
the- and
structure
that.
more substantially detrimental to the
Yeah.
community than not.
Yeah.
And my first blush, without, I tried to get down to the property, but I got a little scared because the road got a little narrow and I didn't wanna like,
Yeah,
I didn't want shotguns coming out.
yeah.
So I agree, I think we should all probably, I think a site visit is here, but in my first blush, this is not going out past what was already permitted.
Yeah.
Which I have an issue with, was the fact thing, was the deck, was Ralph's, the original permit for that deck.
What is this?
That's just, it showed you the inside of
Correct.
what that bump out is.
Where is that?
But
on
any
the-
modifications, they're not.
That's the part that you're, if you look in the front, that's just from inside of there. I
Okay.
took a picture of the inside of there to show
All right.
how big it is, about east.
So is there a setback for the back of the house facing water? Wouldn't one argue this is a con issue? That
Well,
is,
Actually, it's that would then be, the requirement is 6 feet.
that's for the back of the property line, but where's the property line? But it's close to a body of water, which changes things.
I was
You had to
told
be
that there was
200,
some-
any structure has to be 200 feet away from the water. So that original deck should not have been permitted. It should have required a special permit, and we should have required Concon because it was too close to the water.
I was told by the
I'm
neighbor
not
that
so
there's
sure
been
about that.
several surveys, and they differ.
Yeah,
So that's an issue, not 200 feet.
yeah.
But any
that
new
correct?
construction on the water has to be 200 feet
Is that
away.
correct?
No, it doesn't.
There's clearly some neighbor issues here.
Not mine.
There's 2 neighbors here that
That's one
will.
going inside me.
Half the issues are not anything to do with the back of what this, it'll probably become an issue now just because of the other things on the board. From what I've been told, I haven't been told anything off, I probably have about 75 feet to the water, right at the end of the decks right now, it's probably about 75 feet, if I had to guess. The property lines, I went out there and measured from the septic, everything I have is accurate as of right now. There is, because this is obviously in the courts right now, they filed some stuff. I've gone over some of their property lines and going over there. The houses before this, historically, they're on top of each other.
I mean, the GAS has part of their house on your property and part of your house on their
Yeah,
property. I mean,
Yeah, so,
those, I mean, the GASs are a little
yeah,
sketchy.
they're a little, they're a little off. So there's multiple different issues going on with the property, and I'd rather not get into.
No, we don't want to.
Yeah, because I don't want to get in, there's a lot going on there. So, everything that I've kind of done, and I have pictures of what this property looked like before, I took down trees and improved sight lines where they had no sight lines. There's aprovites that were 20, 25 feet tall, trees I removed and gave a sight line. Everything I've done to this house, like the products I'm using, like high-end product, is to maintain and not bother anybody. And there is no reason, this does not change their view, this doesn't change anything from what their original sight line is. When I bought the house, I greatly improved it. I have pictures here, I know I showed Mr. Menard just to show some of the things that are being complained about, that are actually already there, retaining walls that were already there. There was a deck on that back that was about 12 feet by 20 feet. So that deck actually only extends about another 8 feet. On top, there was a small patio off of that sliding glass door that went out about, it was probably about 8 feet wide by about 6 6 to 7 feet out, right? So some of these extensions all stayed within the footprint of what was already there. And from a lot of what I've read.
As long as you
looking
stay in
up
the
case
footprint,
law,
sure.
As long as I stayed with that, I
Yeah.
was in good, right? So even with not being permitted, I didn't know this until afterwards because Ralph had come out to the site. Ralph had been checking up on it. He checked the footings. He checked every step of this. So it wasn't until that actual structure and the complaint about something else that wasn't even on the back came up. That's when all of a sudden I got the stop work notice saying, hey, listen, that's not on there. And that's kind of what they hung their hat on, which, touche. It wasn't on the permit. We're wrong for that. We're gonna go to a finding, and I'm fine with that. As of right now, my house has been 3 months, no stop, well, it hasn't had siding for about 6 months. This project's been delayed because I was trying to bring the right paperwork stuff here. Ralph finally allowed me to continue the work, stay away from that area. But, I mean, right now, we're just being delayed, and it's costing money, for nothing, when it's in the same footprint. And I know I've done some of my homework with case laws and different Supreme Court rulings that this would not be more detrimental. It stayed within that footprint. And like, I did everything in good faith. I understand that there wasn't a permit. But at the end of the day, once I found that out, we did make the changes. We filed for it, we got denied for it. We said he had to go to a finding, and that's what we are today. My goal today is to be able to get them to stop working on my house to finish it. I mean, because of this, I've had flood damage in my basement. I've got no gutters. I can't continue. They can't put in windows. They can't put in gutter systems. Like, it's a real concern now.
Eric, I have a question for you. This bay window type thing on here?
Yes.
Was that part of the original house?
Yes.
Okay, so
All you're getting, this is the bump out.
yeah, but you didn't change this at all?
No, we have not
There was nothing
changed.
else protruding from that north side of the house?
No, that's it.
And are there plans to put a window on this bump out here?
No, because if you can look, that's gonna be an extension of that master bedroom, and you see that large opening, it's probably about a 12-foot slider that's
So that's
on there.
enough of light for,
This
So
is
I'm
the
not gonna
inside
put
of it.
windows on the
Yeah.
side.
Could you go into a little bit more detail on why it wasn't included in the permit properly?
So, part of our conversation, it was kind of, I was gonna do this project in a couple of stages. So the bump out was kind of talked about, didn't really make the final decision when he went and got the permit. I wasn't aware that he didn't put it on the permit, said, all right, we're doing it, he just never went and made the changes to the permit. They started working, they kept working, Ralph had been going out, like, this wasn't a sneak surprise, Ralph had been out to that property a dozen times by the time this went up. They just hadn't come back, and we didn't think that there was gonna be a finding that's on us, that you have to go through a process like this. This is the first time I've ever done additions on a house or anything, major projects like that. And that's just kind of where we fell into.
yeah, I mean, again, I didn't go down because I thought I was gonna get stuck down there. I mean, even though I live in a similar kind of community, but I got afraid somewhere else. So I'm just saying this, structurally, I think, I mean, I'm not a contractor, but I've done enough of construction. If you're gonna put a 12-foot slider there, you need a metal beam up there.
So that's one of the things that's going to be happening.
Okay.
So once again, I said it was gonna be happening project. Me and the contractor, we've already, I've talked about that. There is gonna be some different construction going on there, different support beams.
Yeah, like, because
help.
I don't see how this is holding up.
Yeah, there's gonna,
Yeah, the old sticks.
There's gonna be some different structure there that's gonna go from there. But once again, we haven't been able to change or modify anything in that for probably about 3 months.
Yeah, because you look like you're gonna double joist it down here, right?
Yeah, there's some changes that have to be done with that. But like I said, it was kind of maybe on me for not making the decision sooner before the contract was
Right,
there.
because I even worry if the pilings are good enough, because now you're supporting you're supporting more structure.
Yeah, so.
But again, that's Ralph's
Yeah.
jiggy.
Is there an architect involved?
There was an architect involved, and I don't believe he's gotten back. I've talked to several people that have been having the same type of issues with architects. They're just busy and they're not really, they're all over the place. I just want to kind of get this started. Once we get finding settled, and once we go to do all the extra work, I mean, I can
I think actually Ralph might require some of that to have architectural approval of certain things, but he's not even going there yet because you don't even have a permit. You don't have the,
There has been some conversations when this first got up, before the project was even shut down, there was some conversations that we were gonna come back in to do this. He is aware that there are some changes that have to be made, so it wasn't a complete blind side.
yeah.
Just stop,
Oh.
stand behind the mic when
Oh, sorry.
just so we can pick it up.
Now, did you have any pictures, Derek, of the, I guess,
Before?
the front side of the house?
The side of the house?
No, the front side
Oh,
of the
the-
house. That corner area that's now almost touching the
The
neighbor's
one that's not
house.
on here?
Yeah, I'm saying, did you provide any pictures? I'm assuming
I
your
didn't
neighbor.
provide any pictures of that, I know Mason.
I'm assuming your
It
neighbor
wasn't
may.
on any here, so we didn't do that. I was able to show him a picture that shows that, I mean, everything that, on that side of the house, that's actually, I actually have pictures. The porch area that they're calling the patio, there's actually already a cement block there that they just put one over the top of. There's a retaining wall on that side. Her property line is, and her overhang that she has a porch on the second is literally, I'm gonna say an inch, it's probably a quarter of an inch away from the property line. That overhang is about 2 feet away, doesn't obstruct with any windows, and that's been from the real contention. I don't understand why. Oh, sorry.
It's just the television isn't picking it up as well.
I mean, from the pictures, I don't think it does not, as the applicant said, it doesn't go beyond the original footprint of what was already permitted.
On these photos.
On these photos, yeah, exactly, and that's why I think, I think Terry's correct, and I think a site visit might be in order before
Well,
I.
I think what's more important is to have Ralph reiterate what was approved.
Yeah.
And what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And the fact, I'm sorry he can't be at medical issues tonight, but
So, I mean, I can tell you right now, and I mean, I don't tend to hide anything. The bottom was permitted, that bottom deck. I do think there was some confusion on the permitting process because there was supposed to be the second deck. If you actually look, it says 12 by 20. That's a 20 by 20 at the bottom. So I think there was a confusion about where the 12 by 20 was gonna be. That was the second floor because the 8-foot bump out turns that into a 12 by 20. So there was some confusion there. Ralph, once again, I mean, you can look at all his checks off that he's site visits. My concern is to keep delaying this when it fits within all the case law, it fits within everything. I didn't go past anything. I didn't go past the original deck there that was 12 feet, that went out 12 feet. I haven't gone past that. I stayed within 8 feet. The only thing that has gone past there is the decks that was already permitted, and I stayed within that. I think to delay this any longer, I don't think it's fair. I mean, as you can see in some of those pictures, like how weathered just the,
No, I mean,
Can you just tell me one more time? So that lower deck was permitted, but it was permitted at 20 and
So on the permit,
12?
it does say 12 by 20. I know for a fact, as I was there, when we put the footings in, Ralph had come out and checked them. So
But
I don't,
it's 20 by 20.
yeah, that's 20 by 20, that bottom deck. So that bottom deck probably went out 8 feet.
Okay, but
So-
that was not permitted.
It was, because he came out, he checked all the footings, he signed off on anything. The permit, I think there's an error on the permit. If that was the case, when he came to do his site checks, he would have picked up on that. That's a
You
big.
think, maybe?
well, without him here, I think that's what, to Roger's point, without Ralph here, it's unfortunate that there is some missing information.
I mean, if that was the case, I would imagine that would be on my finding paperwork. It's not. The only thing that's on my finding paperwork is that second floor with that deck on the second floor.
No, he talks about, I think he mentioned
The roof, too.
The overhang.
that it was, that the deck that was permitted is bigger than it was permitted.
I have his paper here, I don't see that. If you guys can point that out, maybe I'm wrong. A 20 by 20 elevated deck, tension attached existing dwelling with roof structure is not substantially more detrimental. So he's talking about the second floor structure. That wasn't on the permit. He's not talking about the bottom floor.
But he already approved a 20 by 12 deck with a canopy, which I would, right?
So the canopy is on the opposite side.
Okay,
So the 20 by 20 deck that's approved, then what he's saying that I needed a finding for is the second floor
Right.
bump out. That's the only, me and Ralph have had numerous conversations about this.
Including the roof of that one, right?
Everything to do with the second floor is what he's saying I need a
That's what I'm
finding.
saying.
And, yeah, everything with the second floor is what I'm here for a finding.
So that's what I'm getting off of
Right.
that note.
Yeah. Everything, so me and, I'm not here to hide anything, so me and Ralph have had multiple conversations about that, and his determination was, because I'll tell you this right now, looking at some stuff, I was, my opinion at first, I was like, I don't need a finding. Looked at some of your bylaws, and it's like, okay, I need to go for a finding, it is what it is, like, here we are. But it was strictly for that second floor, and in his paperwork, it says, finding that the construction of a 20 by 20 elevated deck addition attached to existing dwelling and roof structure is not more substantially detrimental than the existing non-conforming use.
yeah, but it's unclear to me if he means deck or decks.
Right.
Because they're both, there's two elevated decks there.
You're right.
Well, that deck is
They
not-
would-
And-
They would normally come here for
Right.
any kind of change like that, for a.
Yeah, and, well, again, that's why I don't understand why that first
Right.
deck, if it was to, if Ralph had believed that first deck was to be elevated, I don't understand why he didn't send them here.
Yeah, I have my contractor here that was here for, he was there for all of the inspections.
No, I mean, we're not questioning Ralph's inspections, I think I'm confused as to what Ralph means in his, what you just quoted, the finding that construction of a 22 elevated deck addition to the existing structure is not, right? But both of those are elevated decks.
So. in
So
this-
therefore, I don't understand Ralph's logic of why the first elevated deck didn't need a special permit, but the second one did.
I can clarify you with that for a second. That yard, and there's other, I already went to Conservation Commission for this, and you got approved. Dropped down, we took out 3 feet. So that first deck now is a lot higher than what it was, because we had taken out 3 feet before the construction. That's why it looks elevated. That's why the confusion might become. Because before, that yard, we took about 3 feet down. If you notice in one of the pictures, you can see a door, that used to be a half a door. Right, so now it's a short door, but now it's like almost a full door.
And
That's where your elevation,
and then Concon approved you digging all that out?
I went to Conservation Commission and they said nothing I had done I didn't violate it.
The question was, did they approve you digging out that?
Conservation Commission, I went there and they know all the work that I did there and they didn't find anything wrong.
So that digging out was a part of your plan that you presented to them?
That wasn't part of the permit.
Conservation Commission, I went in front of them. So once again, my mason had called and they said, well, because there's a retaining wall and there's a fence. He said, you don't need a wall, it's the same as a fence, I don't need anything. I said, okay. I had already known there was issues in this neighborhood with neighbors, so I said, make sure you get all the permits. Well, come to find out, he didn't explain to them that it was on the water. So then it became an issue of, well, you didn't get it. So then I contacted Conservation Commission, sat down with them, did all the paperwork. They did several site visits, seen all the work I did, and they gave me the approval. They said that nothing was wrong, and I got approval.
I mean, right here, he says, this is in Ralph's letter. I'm still stuck on this.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I really do think we need to do a site visit and we need
No,
Ralph to be here.
yeah.
It's just.
And I apologize for delaying it more, but the site visit can happen within a week or two at most.
Yeah, I mean, because he says
It's gonna
that,
keep you out of court further if we do it
Oh,
right
no,
the first
we're
time.
already.
I know, but we're gonna keep it further, I mean,
So let me ask you this question then.
can I just
Yeah.
finish my
Yeah, no.
question?
sorry.
that he does say that what was permitted was replacing 14 windows, same size, same location, replacing siding for whole house, building a 20 by 12-foot deck, canopy, and then, I guess that's supposed to be a comma, or whatever, deck canopy over the front door. I don't even know what that means.
So I have a picture, and I'll show you, because I did.
But he
bring-
does say a 20 by 12-foot deck, one.
Yes, so once again, I believe that's where there was some type of typo or something, because when Ralph comes, clearly 12 feet and 20 feet are two drastically different things. The work has been allowed to continue, everything continues to go as processed. The side canopy that you guys keep going back to, it's not part of this. I do have a picture to show what that.
Right there.
Are you seeing a side canopy, north or south?
This is going to be on,
It'll be on the north side of the house.
yeah, it'll be on the north side.
It doesn't say side canopy, it just says
It
canopy.
says canopy.
Over the.
Because that's technically the front door on the side of the house.
So
That's how you walk in the house.
I think that originates from the
Oh, so the canopy
application.
wasn't this canopy, the canopy. Okay,
The application
Gotcha.
says 20 by 12.
yeah,
Right,
It's that precise wording. Ralph didn't invent that wording.
right,
right.
They
yeah,
pulled that from the application.
that's the application.
Yeah, so, and if
So
you
who
want, you
prepared
can,
the application?
you can talk to the contractor. Apparently, the contractor had help, they helped him there, and they filled it out. He actually, the contractor said he didn't actually fill it out. So this is the canopy on the side that they're talking about. This is the side.
That's the front door.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, the side doors.
Or on the north side of the house.
Side door's the front.
Is this the neighbor's house? right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the house is already on top of it,
Yeah, no, no, I mean, that's what it is
yeah.
in Westport, in certain areas.
Yes.
right?
And that's why we love it.
So I mean, I think on its face though, is this accurate? That what was requested in the application was not what was built?
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
So the
That's
12 by,
accurate.
yeah, so the 12 by 20, if you actually look at the application, it does say 12 by 20.
It says 12 by 20.
For some reason, and what I think happened there, in my opinion, I don't have a crystal ball, but when he originally went to go get this, it was supposed to be for the two decks, upstairs and downstairs. That second floor deck was only supposed to be
The
12 by 20.
lowest deck.
The top deck,
The top deck
I
is
think-
12 by 20,
I
the
think
lower
they-
deck is 20 by 20.
20 by 20.
But this is not detailed in the application.
If the contractor, you can talk to him. I mean, that's how close.
Is
Yeah.
this, is
Our
this
property.
top deck 20 by 12?
No.
This one will be 20 by 12, once the structure.
You mean out, once
Yes.
the
Once the
structure,
There's a-
then out,
I mean,
okay.
this is how close.
But it's,
the house
I have a question for, Council Burke. What are the standards that have to be met to get a proper application that is grantable? Because when I'm reading this, there's a lot of ambiguities.
Well,
And I think that's the source of a lot of the problems. And my second question on that is which bias should the zoning board take? Should they be biased for the applicant who created ambiguities? Or should they be biased against the applicant?
I don't think
Not biased,
I
but
don't think,
defer.
I know what you say.
Yeah.
Either way, the standard is whether or not it's more detrimental to the neighbor, substantially more detrimental to the neighbor. But your question wasn't quite like that. Your question was, have they provided you with enough information to understand exactly what you're voting on? And that is up to you to determine. I mean, there does seem to be an awful lot of confusion here.
Well, let me rephrase it. The issue here is that Ralph made a stop work order, but the question is was that, what was actually allowed?
So let me.
Because if what has happened is allowed in the application, then there's nothing to be decided on. But that's not the case.
So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Ralph shows up there, does a site inspection to make sure everything's going towards process, right? There's checks and balances to this process. He goes out there, that permit says 12 by 20, it's a 20 by 20. At that point, if there's something wrong, me as a homeowner, I didn't pull the permits, he goes out there, I would expect him to say, hey, wait, time out, you have an issue here.
This,
Right, but that doesn't, that's correct. However, the fact that he didn't propose an issue doesn't mean that he recognized that there
Right.
was that you did, there must have, we don't know what, because Ralph's not here, We don't know to say, okay, Ralph said 12 by 20, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is clearly bigger than 20 by 20, 12 by 20,
But that's okay.
but that's okay. We don't know that he said that, and he didn't, we don't know he made that mental click. Yes, I agree, you detrimentally relied on the fact that he came out and he said that was okay. I get that, I'm a homeowner too. My building inspector comes out and says that passes my inspection, I assume I did everything right. I agree with you.
But you knew you
However-
weren't.
But however,
But you
now
never are.
unfortunately, you've created more because you did more work without a permit. Now everything is being put into a little bit more scrutiny than perhaps would have been if you just would have stopped at that first deck.
Right.
You probably would have gotten allowed with a 2020 deck. I don't even, your neighbors may or may not have complained, but that's not really relevant for here. But now the fact that we have to look at this together, we have to understand what the nature of the original permit was for and understand what Ralph was,
I don't really totally agree with that, because in a finding,
yeah.
what
true.
was approved and what a finding is he has current plans on what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that more detrimental to the neighborhood? That's what we're here for.
I
You know
have-
what
don't
is
think it is.
detrimental to the
I haven't
neighborhood?
seen
don't think
those
so.
current
I
plans.
don't think-
That's what I was getting at.
Without, but I
Right.
also think I can't make that definitively without doing a site visit.
Oh, okay, yeah, I understand that.
And-
That's what I
and
was getting at, is what are the plans now? Are we going by these pictures?
Could
There
I
are no plans in front of us.
say
Yeah.
something?
Now,
Well-
Cynthia, I also want to mention,
These
there's
are
nothing to say, there's nothing to say, the building permit was applied for.
Those don't look.
I'm going to wait for Cynthia to hear.
What, this looks like this.
Cynthia, you just said a minute ago about him talking to the homeowner.
Yeah.
The builder is the one who applied for the building permit. We don't know whether he's talked to the builder or not.
Yes.
Without, I'm saying we don't know that, okay? Until Ralph tells us, yes, I told the builder.
Right. You're saying you talked to Ralph,
That's
but
right.
Ralph's not here to confirm or deny.
Well, yeah,
Just because she wants to say something, but something was said that I just don't agree. The first time I ever, when I first done these plans, I told my contractor, it was a 20 by 20 deck is what we agreed upon. I had never seen the building permit until these complaints came in.
Right, and that's fine. We are not holding that against you. We completely agree. You trust, you trusted your contractor to do the right thing. Things aren't the way they're supposed to be, so now you're here. I mean, right? And I get that. And that's not a bad mark against you. Don't worry about
I
that.
just want to make sure.
No, there's no bad mark against that. That happens more than it doesn't, and, obviously you realize there's also some deficiencies of the work. Because you're gonna need much more,
I don't know
larger
about
joints.
that.
No, what?
Just the whole thing about,
We can't,
I mean, I in my head, it was 20 by 20, and although I was only, and somehow I missed the whole thing that I was only permitted for 20 by 12, and so it's okay, because gee.
but I'm not saying this whole structure is okay. I could tell, you don't know that, I'm not gonna say he's just holding down. I'm just saying that I don't hold it against him for not knowing that the permit got put in today. That is not gonna affect my decision. The decision could eventually be, none of this should have happened, and all it goes, right? I mean, but I think, look, you've built the house, right? If all of a sudden something came to light that something was built that you had told your contractor to do, but then it wasn't done right, do you want someone to penalize you?
No, I guess what happens.
So I'm not.
There has to be some sort of litigation or something between the owner and the contractor.
Exactly. Right, that's not for us to decide. Us to decide is if the new plans are, I think there's two issues before us. One is this new plan substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, and then we deny the finding, and then this has to come down, and then there's the other issue of
What new plan are you referring to?
this one.
Not all of it.
That's a plan?
That's a plan.
That's the plan.
That's not really a plan. He's even said that doesn't
No, he said this didn't, this is what he said was AI generated, right?
Yes.
This is the
This is the
plan.
plan.
Could I say something, or?
That's not a plan, according to, if I walk into the building inspector with just that picture,
Right.
he's not gonna give me a building permit.
Right.
But you gave him, but Ralph gave him a building permit for this without any drawing.
No, he
He
don't.
gave him for this.
I don't
There's no
know.
drawing.
I don't know what he, that's
We
what.
have the building permit application. That's why I think, one, I think you're right. We need to talk to Ralph and we need to do a site visit.
Yeah.
But we're talking here about a finding. We're not talking about, so the finding is this kind of structure, 20 by 20. I don't care if it's 2 by 6s or 4 by 4s. That's not our problem. That's a building permit problem. Is this structure more detrimental to the neighborhood? How it's built is Ralph's problem, not ours.
Could I say,
ahead.
I'm sorry, I've been
Address.
trying to say something. My name is Danilyn Reyes. I live at 231B. Talking about the updated permit and the finding, Ralph wouldn't review the updated plans for the 20 by 20 until we came here for the finding. So he said, you need to go to the finding first before he reviewed the new 20 by 20 with the 8-foot bump out and the downstairs decking that was there. So that's why we're here. He said, you need to go to he wouldn't review it, and he said, you need to go to the zoning board.
Did he
So
say
we
also
did
that
that.
after you do that, and he.
Then we have to
he
provide
appro-
him with the updated
No, and
plans.
He reviews and approves the plan
Ex-
appropriately. Did he say you have to come back here and we do another finding?
But typically, yeah, because typically we have.
I'm not
full-size
sure.
plans, Right?
We usually
mean-
have a set of plans as you want them
Yeah,
in front of us, and that's what we do, and that's what stays with the record forever.
yeah, I'm just saying what he said we needed to do in order to update the plans.
Yeah, Roger,
So
can
that's
you
where we're at.
elaborate on that? Because, I mean, typically, we do have a full set of plans.
Not for a finding. We've done a lot of things where findings are the enclosure. I want a 12 by 20 bump out. And, because all we're looking at is,
But we've had
does
whole
the
houses.
bump out,
Houses.
I don't care how it's built, that's not.
But we've had whole houses.
Yes, we
with
have,
full
but we've
plans.
also had, most of them are additions,
Yeah.
you know, it's
I
not a
remember
finding
that one
usually for a
particular
house.
With the person who used to be sitting to my left, and now is no longer
So,
with
you know,
us.
so it's generally, I want a 10 by 20 bump out.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be more detrimental? How you built it with 2 by 6s or 4 by 4s, I don't care, that's not our problem.
But your
Is the
kids-
bump out more detrimental to the neighborhood? Then it's gonna go to Ralph, and he's gonna figure out, is it built properly?
Okay.
But your tent's there.
So we're
I
not-
want to build. I'm seeking a finding because I want to build.
Because you wanna build-
Not because I've already built this.
Yes,
And
that's-
now I
yes.
need for you to say it's
Yes.
okay and
Right.
fine,
No, we're
have
not.
this
But
finding.
if we say that
But
it
it
is,
isn't-
it is more detrimental to the
But
neighborhood.
we have to take
Our-
that, the concept, we gotta take that in what, we gotta pretend that this doesn't exist, and this is what he's coming with us for
Right.
right now.
Correct.
We have to, we can't,
Yes.
we cannot,
No, because
we-
there's so
no.
much of that goes around.
no, but
in
we
this
are, we are,
town.
we are,
You
we are,
know it.
we are serving.
Build what you want
No.
and then, you know.
No, but we could ask him to pull it down. I mean, we could. If we decide here that this is more substantial agenda, then the whole thing is
That's
coming
the way
down.
it's done in Westport. I'm
No,
gonna
no,
do
no.
what I wanna do and
But we,
then, you
but
know.
no, first of all, we can't say, there is, yes, I agree, that happens all the time in Westport, but we can't put that against him, right? He at least came to us when an issue was brought to his attention, right? So I give him a check, good, right? Should he have done this beforehand? But what we have to look at now is this, if he would have come to us 6 months ago with this plan,
Right.
what would we have decided?
Yes.
We have to take that away. We're not allowed to put our own, we have to interpret and enforce our zoning laws. We cannot put personal input into this, even though the reason I'm here is, and I think you're here too, is because there's so much of the ask for forgiveness instead of ask for permission going on in Westport. That's why I'm here. So he's asking for both. He's asking for permission, and he's asking for like a mea culpa. But we can't really, we have to commend him that he's actually didn't just decide to continue building this and say, screw everybody in Westport, right? So,
That's what they usually do.
exactly. So that's why we have to look at this and say,
As a clean slate,
as a clean slate,
right.
would we have, you know, even though we maybe don't like, or don't like the way it came to us, we have to put that aside. Because we're a finder of fact, not a finder
Would
of
he have ever,
feelings.
he wouldn't be here if the neighbors hadn't written Ralph repeatedly and said.
Well, I think
"There's a
Ralph, I
problem
think,
here."
well, then that's not his problem. That was, unfortunately, I think at some point Ralph would have stopped this. Or if he wouldn't, then we need to address that. Because I would have hoped that at some point Ralph would have said, wait, this is more than the permit, because he wouldn't have had anything to check off on. He would have been like looking at his permit and saying, well, I can't, right? So he would have stopped it. The neighbors, because they're there every day, I mean, Ralph was only gonna go, the next time Ralph was gonna go was probably to look at something else, and then he would have seen all this.
So we don't have a floor plan at all. We don't have any kind of,
This is a floor plan,
other than.
it's decks.
The decks.
That's just
It's decks.
Well, it's a bump out.
But
And a bump
but
out.
Bump out,
But-
yeah,
It's a
okay.
bump out.
But Ralph,
But over the deck, so.
Ralph looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And Ralph can tell the difference between 12 by 20 and 20 by 20.
Right, and
8
Ralph's
feet-
not here to say what he was.
Yeah, but he saw it, and I've seen Ralph in action enough to know if he sees something that's not right, he says something.
Right, but we don't know he didn't.
He didn't.
No, we
because-
don't know that.
But he didn't.
Ralph's not here to say
But he
that.
didn't do a cease and desist order at that point, and then that came in. So he got involved with
When
this,
the top came in.
but this was already done, and he saw it.
Those are things that I think.
But he saw it.
Okay, so how do we want to proceed?
Yeah.
We've been around and around, how do we want to
Yeah,
proceed?
I don't.
Other than
think-
I do want to hear from neighbors.
I do not think
Hear
this
from
is,
the neighbors.
I don't think it's substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood because the bump out, it's going out towards the water. It doesn't go out, it doesn't extend the footprint from side to side to neighboring properties, right? However, I have questions I have Concon questions, I got a lot of questions of why I thought anything that was that close to the water needed to go to Concon.
But you also, we're only looking at one end of the house. There's-
But that's all he's asking, but that's all he's asking for.
Am I right that you put construction on the back?
Yeah, but the finding was only for that.
Yeah,
Finding is
So-
only for this piece.
The canopy and everything that you had the picture for, that's on my permit.
right.
So is it accurate to say that we're dealing with a small deviation, some level of deviation from what was permitted? And as Mr. Menard says, our sole goal here is to decide if that's not more detrimental.
Can we hear from
No,
the
but I
neighbors?
agree with what Cynthia says, we have to look at this as a clean slate.
it.
Yeah.
Whether it was bigger or smaller than what was originally planned, would we have agreed to this
Yeah,
If it would have come,
if this was the original
need
plan?
to go to the Wayback Machine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can we hear from the neighbors?
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Attorney Blake?
Just to go to
yeah, we will.
your point, under the building code, there are provisions in there that can penalize people for getting the permit after the fact. I believe it's double and treble permit fees
Yeah, so,
for an after the fact. I know, it's probably not a lot of money, but I know that you had voiced a concern about, people are just building and then nothing happens. There is that provision in the building code.
So that's something that Ralph could invoke.
That's something he would, and I suspect he would look at the circumstances where you have a homeowner and a contractor who kinda did
Yes,
this.
right.
But it would be up to Ralph.
yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people who do things and pay the penalty rather than get the permit because they couldn't get the permit otherwise.
I think we should
And
hear
I think,
from the
and much
neighbors.
more egregious than this.
Because there was some other construction on the back end.
That's not what we're here for.
That's not what we're here for.
Can we hear from the neighbors?
Not what we hear, but when it comes time to say this
We're only
is
gonna
fine,
be talking about whether we approve or disapprove this.
and what happens to the other?
That he has a permit for. And
The
that's
neighbors
the
are
only
saying
thing
no.
on Ralph's letter that says is beyond what was in the original permit.
That's for Ralph to
So
deal
this is
with.
all we're talking about today.
It's for Ralph
To deal with.
But
Yeah.
how does it not get into our finding?
Because
It
that's,
It's there.
yeah, but we can't go beyond
What-
what the permit what the application is all about.
That's why
We can't expand
So then we,
the application.
then we should, if
That's
we
why
were
I
to
was-
approve this,
yeah.
we should say,
It's only-
except for
right.
this other stuff that's.
That's right, this only
That's why I was
applies
I
to,
want to hear from the neighbors.
yes.
That's why I was confused with why we're not, this
And
is
again,
not
we're
an
only
appeal to
talking
the
about
stop work order.
the deck that faces the water.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Attorney Matthew Aspen with an office at 255 County Street in Somerset. I represent Patricia LaHaye, who's immediately to the east, that you've talked about quite a bit
Yeah.
tonight. I think Mr. Catino is absolutely right. There's way more to this that the board needs to know.
We're
and that
only,
they-
excuse me, I'm going to stop you. We are only going to be discussing what the application is for. We cannot go legally into areas that are not part of the application. If there's another problem with another part of the application, then that's a separate issue that has to be handled separately.
Respectfully, you keep saying there was a permit. There was not a permit for this addition they put on.
I'm saying the application in front of us is only for the deck that faces it. So our application process, we can't expand beyond what the petitioner application is for.
Well, I understand, but there was a lot brought up in the 45 minutes that was presented here by the petitioner. We should be able to respond to tell you exactly. There was con issues brought up. There were all kind of issues, and I need to respond to that
If
respectfully.
you have con issues related to this aspect of it, then
I have related to the whole project, as Ms. Kozakowicz. Was I close?
Close enough.
If I may, can I?
Yes.
All right. Let me give you some handouts that I have here, and I want you to follow with me, because I think, Mr. Catino's, he's brought it up, so I want to address it on everything that's going on here. Because there is litigation in Superior Court, and quite frankly, there's part of the complaint is to tear down what they've constructed, because they've constructed it in violation of zoning. And the building inspector, what he did or what he didn't do, you need to know that the permit that was applied for was completely inaccurate, and I'm gonna point it out to you in a minute.
Mr. Menard, can I just say something real quick? We just went to litigation on this on Monday. They rejected to bring up any of the house issues during litigation. They avoided all the house issues that they had. The only issue was a retaining wall that was set by the back. If they wanted to deal with issues with the house, we could have done it in Superior Court. During litigation, they said that they didn't want to speak about the house at this time, and they left that alone. So I think it's kind of unfair for them to come into this point.
I'm not sure, what is it you're going to be talking?
And the litigation does not include the back of the house that we're trying to get a finding
So if you're
for.
talking about anything that has to do with the deck that faces the water,
Only one was brought up by the board.
now, I'm going to tell you, you're only going to talk about things that have to do with the deck facing the water. If you have something in here that talks about that,
Respectfully, if they bring something, the board brought something up, I have the right in the public hearing.
and I'm telling you that the petition only covers the deck facing the water. We cannot get involved in aspects of it that have nothing to do with the deck facing the
Can I
water.
address the con issue that you brought up?
If that has anything to do with this, then fine, yes.
Okay, so, and the reason I wanted to bring these things up is because, Ms. G, is it G or G?
Gee.
Ms. Gee brought up the permits, and the people should be allowed to do things without permits. I should be able to address that and tell you what exactly happened to this piece of property in the last 6 months.
If it has to do with this, and then you go ahead. I'm open
First of all,
to,
the lot's 3,400 square feet. Okay, nobody's addressed that they're going in excess of lot size by putting this. They can only go under section 7.4 of your bylaw, 50% of the lot coverage, okay? They're building this 400 square foot deck. There's nothing before this board that tells you whether or not, because this lot's only 3,400 square feet, that they're going above that. That needs to be considered by the board. You certainly cannot grant authority if it exceeds 50% of the lot coverage.
and that is something the building inspector does.
But you can't,
The building inspector is responsible for that. We look at this as that he has approved it.
All right, so let me rephrase my argument.
Okay.
My argument is, if they've gone over 50%, it's substantially detrimental to the neighborhood, because the purpose of the zoning bylaw is to protect the surrounding neighborhood. So if they've gone in excess of 50% of the 7.4, you can't approve this, because that substantially interferes without a variance. They would need a variance for that provision, okay? With regard to the Concon, you know, in all due respect to the petitioners, they only want to, well, there's no question they want to aesthetically improve their property. We know that. I mean, there's no question about that. But Ms. G is right. They got to follow the rules. Now, they went to the Concon after the fact. I've got pictures of backhoes down there, tearing down trees, everything else, and then when my clients complain because of proximity to the deck, then they go to the Concon. Now, I'm not sure what the Concon does, because there's no issue there. Mr. Catino brought up and that's why you need to speak to the building inspector, because there's also a pre-existing non-conforming expansion of it on the east side of the property. That's why I'm telling you their permit is lacking. They're ignoring that. That was part of the cease and desist order, their original permit, and I really ask that you look at their original permit, because you looked at it before. If you look at it, it's number 3 in my package. The original permit on page 2 lists the dimensions of the lot. It's absolutely untrue. This was deceiving to the building inspector. Look where it says provided actual. Left side, 30 feet. Rear side, 25 feet.
I don't know where you
Right
are.
side, it's on page 2, number 3 in my package.
Number 3 on your package?
Number 3 in my package, page 2.
Okay. Okay.
The numbers are completely incorrect. You can see by the pictures that are submitted that the house is 3 feet from my client's house. But look what they put in the petition. So the building inspector looks at this and says, oh, you're in compliance with zoning? It's critical for this board to know that. The permit was granted based on the information they provided, which is incorrect.
Then the building inspector has to take care of that.
Again, he has to take care of it, but it's part of the whole picture. This is not one non-conforming use on this deck. This is a non-conforming use on the jut out that they put in, on the patio they put in, and also, I know that the lot, everybody's talking about, well, this is not waterfront property. If you think it's waterfront property, you're incorrect. Their property line in their deed goes to the high water mark. And if you look at the first chart on page 1 of my submission, their property line is away from the dock. So what they did, what problems prompted this, okay, just so the board knows where we are, they put a fence along their boundary and my client's right away to the shore, all the way down to the seawall. They don't own this, they don't own 10 feet from the seawall. They only own to mean high tide. So that's what triggered all this. They blocked my client's access to the seashore, and a dock and a landing. The other neighbor did the same thing. So they put the fences right up to the seawall on property they don't own. That was number 1. They didn't go to Concon to destroy all that property. Number 2, they did put on their building permit that they were putting a bump out right next to my client's property. They put windows, siding, and a deck, wrong size deck. The board needs to know that. This is all problems that they created by their own volition. Now, whether or not it was intentional or not, there are 4 different issues that they didn't play by the rules. Concon, the easement violation, the bump out, the deck that you keep saying we're here for. So now, my clients are going, what's next? You keep saying they got a permit. They did not get a permit to build the deck they did. They did not get a permit to build the bump out. None of that was included in the permit they got.
But that's not, we're here to decide, can they go, we're pretending that this didn't happen, and they're just coming in and asking us for this, right? If we say this is okay, based upon not substantially detrimental to the neighborhood, then they still have to go and get that building permit. And then, with your record here that you provided, I would hope that then our building inspector will either accept or he will, that's where it gets stopped,
I agree,
right?
and I don't understand.
Unfortunately, this whole thing is bifurcated, that, like,
Well,
we
I
don't.
don't understand why, I don't have the cease and desist order in front of me, and
And-
The application talks about the deck, as Mr. Menard indicates, it talks about the deck, but the application should have been for any non-conforming use. So now they've got this property, and you can see it in the pictures, they've got they built an addition onto the property that they haven't finished, and it's in there. And for some reason, and I have a feeling it's because of the way the permit's worded and the incorrect dimensions on the permit, that your building inspector didn't issue a cease and desist specifically for that build-up. He should have issued a cease and desist for not only that bump out, but for the deck and everything else that was going on, because there was no permit. And they were all expansions of a pre-existing non-conforming use under section 5.2.3. So it's a little bit disingenuous to say, well, we only came here for this. Well, tomorrow, you grant this, the appeal period goes by, are they gonna finish the other bump out? I think the whole thing needs to be addressed. Or are we gonna, you know.
But we don't have a cease and desist order.
I don't know that. I
Did you
don't-
appeal the building permit?
No, we're in Superior Court right now on, we filed a Superior, saw an injunction for them to tear it down, because it was too late to issue the building, to appeal the building permit. Actually, the building permit's not even.
But there's no building permit for
There's
this.
no building permit right now, for
Right.
anything.
No, but
Right.
you're talking about the front, and there is a building permit that you claim.
No, not building permit for the front bump out. They
Well,
did put it
you
in-
claim that this building application was just plain wrong with a lot of things. You never appealed it?
Appeal the building permit? No,
Yeah.
the building permit was simply for siding, windows, and a deck. It didn't include anything about this bump out, so there was nothing to appeal. You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but what you're trying, you're talking all over the place.
Right.
We're here for the back deck.
Right.
Decks and bump out.
Right.
You're talking about all these other things. My question to you was, did you appeal the building permit for which Ralph issued, and some of the work out there is done? I think we all agree, no building permit was issued for this.
For 20 by 20 decks.
Right.
And, but,
All right,
yeah,
but you keep going
there's no
round
building-
and round the house.
Right now, there's no building permit.
right.
Hang on a second.
And we're not issuing a building permit
We
tonight.
have a building
I
permit.
have, hold on, I have the permit right here. One of the things that also, what they didn't bring this up in Superior Court, and they tried to run away from it and come in here. One of the things is, I had emails, and I wasn't prepared for this today because it's simply for the finding of fact. I have talked to Ralph about every step of this project because the neighbors have complained. I have sent him Superior Court rulings. I have talked about every single step. Ralph is fully aware of everything that's going on the side, and like she's saying, there's been no objection besides verbal, hey, what's going on with the side? It's permitted, and since then, I have been told that that was all set, and the only issue right now is on that backside. In Superior Court, I have the paperwork here of their lawsuit. Their lawsuit is about the side of the building. It's not about this back piece that I'm coming for a finding for. And like you guys are saying right now in here, if Ralph decides, hey, there's some issues here, that's between him and my contractor, and we can go from there. I just need the findings so we can stop moving forward with this. Once Ralph came to this property and said, hey, listen, there's something here to stop work, we have not even gone remotely close to that piece. We stopped all work. I told my contractor they were off-site for 2 months with my house. If you see the pictures of the house has been like that for over 2 months until me and Ralph came to an agreement that I could stabilize the siding of the house. There was not 1 inch until we had approval that was touched on that house.
And when we received the cease and desist and we went down to speak to the building department, they said that the only area that they were concerned about was the back piece of the house, the decking.
I have a,
Building permit, no, I'm asking.
I have a question. You, in your packet, it shows a picture from the application, and there is a notation, I think it's in part 3.
Which number is that? I'm sorry.
Sir, have
I'm
you
not
seen
sure
this?
what page it is. It's the first picture in part 3 from the application. And I think this actually goes to something you were talking about, Mr. Menard.
And they chose-
Excuse me, can I ask a question? Does this number there mean 20 feet extending from the house?
That's
When I-
not mine. That's what I'm saying. That was the.
No, I'm just wondering how you interpret that.
Yeah,
Because this was a question that you were getting at, Mr. Menard, was the original footprint of the approved deck. And it's a bit rough, but I think if this top deck, this is the house, this is the top deck. If this is 12 by 20, it's pretty clear that that 20 is indicating that the bottom deck extends
lower
out
deck,
20 feet.
right.
So therefore, that, if I'm reading that, my belief is that it's a 20 by 20 deck on the bottom. So that's the original footprint that Ralph would have looked at. And I
it-
think he has a typo maybe in the application, but
And then-
in the drawing, it looks like a 20 by 20
And
deck.
was there originally a deck there to begin with?
Yes, there was. It was, how big was that deck?
So
Sorry.
that's my question. Is that the way
It
you
was a
interpret
12 by 20 deck originally.
The back.
Down there.
The way I interpreted it, there's a 12 by 20 permit issue.
Well, there's a 12 by 20 deck on the top, but this is the bottom deck, and that's a 20 there. So that makes me think that that indicates the extension.
And that's why we're saying it was a typo on the permit, because the drawings showed a 20 by 20 deck.
That second floor.
And the original deck was 12 by 20.
All right,
But I was just showing a
Yes.
permit
Yeah.
by the council looked
Well,
at.
but the permit includes, this is
Well,
part of the
problem is
application,
permit-
so.
The permit doesn't, the
Yeah.
permit doesn't say, it says deck and it says canopy. Apparently, they're talking about a canopy on the side that Mr. Catino was talking about and that I was talking about over this new addition.
Well, I just
But
think
that's
that
not what the
when,
building permit says.
no, but the permit should reflect what was in the application. So if there's a drawing that indicates that footprint, there's a reasonable expectation that Ralph approved that footprint.
Yeah, and I just don't know, I think my client's problem, just to cut to the chase, I mean, they don't wanna be, they really don't wanna be bad neighbors, but there's 4 incidents here of not complying with any of the rules and regulations, and that just snowballs everything. So the lawsuit that's pending, and if I have to go in and, Mr. Ogles is correct, we did not address the injunction because we wanted the town to take care of that as it pertains to the illegal building of that addition.
But can you answer, like, do you believe that that is an original 20 by 20
No,
deck drawing in the
That's not a-
application?
I don't know if that applies to the whole deck, you see the 2 pieces? I don't know if that's supposed to go the whole length, because if you look at that, is that to scale? I mean, look at the other deck.
No.
The other deck, then the other deck would be 100 feet, and then we wouldn't even be here, because it wasn't impossible, right? The other deck's 5 times, or at least 3 times the size of that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's up to the building department or Ralph to say he wants a scaled piece.
No, the regulations are very clear, but you have to submit to the
He
zoning.
approved it, so, and then on the side part of that house, I also, just now that was mentioned, Ralph also was given it was an AI generated image of what that side of the house was gonna look like. It was actually much larger, a larger peak. We actually slimmed it down and gave it a more lower pitch. This way, there was no issues there.
Like that?
And I believe they were aware that we were only supposed to discuss the back of the house today, and they still chose to come in and discuss other portions that were not part of the finding.
You're right with the building inspector. I have no idea.
There's 20
There's
there, too.
no- I don't think anybody on
Found
this
that as
board
well.
can
That's
dispute
20 wide, it's always
that this
been 20 wide.
This is
addition they
20
put on
out,
the south
so this
side
is
of
the
the
elevator.
house
This is the
is an
second, and this
extension
is
of a
the
pre-existing
Can we all
non-conforming.
just
Across.
have one
Right.
person talk? It's just like
Is the
too much.
extension of a
Hang on.
The addition they put on the east side of on the south side of the house is clearly, I mean, nobody can dispute this. It's an extension of a pre-existing non-conforming use. It's right on the property line. So there's no, that's not open for debate. Can I tell you why your building inspector didn't address that? I can't tell you. I mean, that thing, that's very basic. Nobody can say that's not an extension of a
But we can't address that he didn't address it.
well, but here's the problem, like Ms. G said, it's a culmination of the mess that this is in. There's 4 times they didn't go to get the right permits. Now the building inspector, and I don't know him, I'm sure as Mr. Stelgis, is that right? As Mr. Stelgis says, he knows what he's doing, and he checks everything, but it makes no sense to me that particular problem, which was raised by my clients repeatedly, and I think they spoke with Mr. Catino and told him the same thing, showed him, and it's in my package. What the heck is this doing here? How did this come up, and why, is this part of the cease and desist? I don't know. So they're looking for a finding, and that's why I started, and maybe I wasn't clear, Mr. Menon, I apologize for that. The application isn't clear. Is the cease and desist pertaining to the deck? Are they looking for relief from the cease and desist for the side yard and the deck? Because the side yard's clearly not, the side yard addition is clearly an expansion of a pre-existing use. I don't know what they're requesting for. It was filed by them, and again, they're lay people, I understand that. They're not builders, or they're not contractors, or they're not lawyers. But the problem is, it needs to be clear. I don't know what he stopped working for. If he's gonna come in here and say, oh, no, they're gonna tear down that addition they put in because they didn't request relief for it, then okay, I think we can work that out. Fine, they tear that down, and if the deck's being put in and you find that it's not detrimental to the neighborhood, great. But I can't tell, and if the board can tell, great. I don't know what the cease and desist was for.
So-
Do we have this, do we have the?
I have a cease and.
Can I have a copy of the cease and desist, because I can't seem to find it in my
So,
packet?
I'm glad you brought the other things up, because I know my contract had drawings
Is
made, I
this
didn't
the
have
cease and
those.
desist right here?
You know, we keep going around and around, and I'm gonna keep telling everybody, we're here for one purpose only, and that is, if you were to build this exactly as this, how we got here is not really our problem. It's, whether he got proper permits or not is not our problem, that's a building permit problem. We're only here to say, if they were to build this, is it more detrimental to the neighborhood? And what that really means is, does it affect safety, and does it affect parking, does it affect it?
I
What,
understand what you're saying, Mr.
that's the only thing that a finding is for.
But all your board members don't agree with you, with respect. Ms. G was very clear.
Well,
She was very clear.
We're gonna take a
And
vote.
with respect to with all respect to you, okay, this board, I was on the Somerset zoning board 86 to 88. I've been practicing zoning law for 40 years. I'm in my 40th year. I'm very familiar with this. This is the biggest, and quite honestly, one of the most conscientious boards I've ever appeared before. I've never seen hearings go this detailed, and people know their stuff here, no question. But I am allowed to address it when somebody on your board brings it up, and that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But I guess the issue here, and is that Ralph cease and desist said the permit was for replacing 14 windows, same size, same location, replacing the siding, building a 20 by 12 deck, we'll just ignore the sizing there, and a canopy over the front door. Then, pre-existing non-conforming structures or uses may be altered, provided there's a finding.
Read
I
the
think
first
the
sentence. Read the first sentence is what Ralph is saying was built without the permit, right?
No.
After a
This is
recent
just-
site visit to your property, it was noted that you have constructed a second-level addition, which is not part of the permit issue.
Right. Right.
I think the second-level addition is that.
Is that?
Yes.
What, the deck?
Correct.
Bump out.
This.
There's a bump out on the second floor.
And the
But again,
See, that's where I disagree.
my issue here is the canopy over the front door, right? And if, I'm almost say, like, but then, then there was another thing from Ralph saying the only thing was this. But I really think they need to have a variance, a finding for the canopy. I agree with,
Well, yeah, maybe the
Attorney.
case, but that's not this petition.
but it's not in this petition. So, right, so I think we need to clarify, I mean, I think Ralph maybe didn't convey that you also need a finding for the canopy over the front door.
No, we didn't.
Again, without Ralph here,
Correct me if I'm wrong, he's just referencing what it was there for, and he puts canopy over the door, because that's on my permit, I actually.
right, but then he also references pre-existing non-conforming structures or uses may be altered, provided that there is there's a finding, right? Replacing windows and replacing siding is not an alteration, correct? And a guy, right, right?
Right.
Canopy over the front door, when there wasn't one, is.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's not what was done.
But then again, I don't understand why the building of the 20 or 12 or the 20 by 20 deck wasn't.
Wasn't.
Wasn't,
Right,
that's
the
what I,
original- yeah.
why wasn't that?
Well, didn't you say there was a deck there already?
There was.
There was, and there was a deck on the top floor
okay.
as well, there's like a
So
small
maybe
deck.
that's the reason, because there was already a deck there.
And it was already 20 by 12.
Yeah.
No, no, it wasn't. It was a small,
It was 12 by 20.
Yeah, that,
small deck. I mean,
there was a, no.
The upstairs
No,
one
you do.
was a
I'm looking
small
at the
deck.
pictures.
Yeah, it was
There's a small deck above that's
Right.
small, but the one below.
We're talking about the one below.
Well, yeah.
This deck here.
Was a 12 by 20.
Right.
Then there was a small little kind of Romeo Juliet kind of decky kind of thing.
That one was smaller.
Yeah, so I think that's where the 12 by 20 got thrown in instead of the 20 by 20.
But there was supposed to be a 20 by 12 upstairs, and then the deck downstairs was going to be expanded to a 20 by 20. So the existing 20 by 12 was gonna be expanded to a 20 by 20, and then the one upstairs was gonna be expanded.
That one upstairs was never in the original permit, so.
Yeah, so that's why we're here today, for the
Yeah.
Are you saying the second level? I don't know what that means. There was a second level addition put on the east side of the property. There was no second level addition put on the deck.
There's a
Yeah.
second level addition on the deck.
There's a second level addition on the deck.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's
No,
there's
an
a
addition.
bump out.
The bump out.
That's
Well, the
supposed to be
second
from our
level-
bedroom.
It says second level addition in the first sentence. So
That-
I suppose he was referring to the east side of the property.
No, this is the
No,
second
he's
level
referring
here.
to the back of the house.
Back of the house.
That is clear to me.
Yep.
I would like to go back to Ms. Menard's thing about this is sufficient plans, okay, that not more substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Are we talking about this plan?
No.
No, we're talking
Are we
about
talking about
these plans.
this plan?
No,
Are we talking about
These.
this plan?
that plan.
Are we talking about this plan
The crayon drawing.
that Roger held up?
That,
Those.
Okay?
yeah, those plans.
Okay, are we talking about another one that's really quite nice?
That's just,
That's
that's his
yeah,
But that's
rendition.
the AI, yeah.
That's his
that's-
rendition of what it's gonna look like.
Yeah.
But that's what it's supposed to look like when it's done.
But so is this other, that's a finished product.
Yeah.
This over
That-
here, it's a finished
Well,
product.
that is coming, those
What I'm
pictures are
saying
from
is,
our, those
For the
pictures are from
future,
the,
when people are looking at this and looking at our decision, which one was it?
Well, that's if we put in decision based on these set, identifying exactly what.
Well, if
Because
you
really what you're concerned about is the size of things. That it's gonna be a
Well,
20 by
no.
20 bump out with a
See this
roof
one
on
here?
top.
See the overhangs on this one? A bit more than.
No, that's a.
But that's not accurate. That's why we provided the.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is an overhang is,
Talking about this.
goes into the neighborhood.
So that's the picture that you're, attorney, the picture that you're looking at was actually, that's part of the original, where you say it's not a
Right, this
canopy.
is the canopy over the front door.
But that's not what we have right now.
That's what this, he
Yeah, that's-
insists on, it says.
No, it says that we have a permit for the
It says
canopy
we
over
have
the
a permit.
front door.
That's something you didn't want to look at.
That image is what was submitted to the board,
I
like,
just
to
point
them.
out, it's not a canopy over the deck.
That's-
It's not a canopy over
no,
there.
it's not a
All right,
canopy.
is there anything else you wanna bring up?
No, I think you're right. I think the building inspector needs to clarify these.
Because I thought it was, I got that, yeah.
Hi there, my name's Thomas Bassett, I live at 231C. If anybody would have a complaint here, it would be me. Half of my windows face that house, and I don't think it's more detrimental, and I think it looks good. I don't have any complaints as a neighbor.
Thank you.
Just so
Thank
you know,
you.
Mr. Bassett's a defendant in the Superior Court litigation, so I just want to point, I'm just advising the board, yeah.
Even if I wasn't, I'd still be happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I live
Again,
at 231A Tickle Road, the abutter. My name's,
about the deck facing the wall.
yes, yeah.
Okay, good.
So, my name is Jeremy Hardy. I'm a constable at the town. I serve paperwork on behalf of Ralph all the time. I spoke to him once about a week and a half ago, and then once Monday morning. He assured me several times that tonight they would be speaking about all of the problems with the building permits. I won't continue on, but he swore up and down I had nothing to worry about. He said getting an attorney was a waste of money and that they would discuss everything today. I'm urging that you all get to see the property and speak personally with Ralph Souza before making a
And
decision.
I think that's, the key here is that without Ralph here, we're only hearing, he said,
Hearsay.
they said.
Hearsay.
He told me.
I agree. You should all speak with Ralph personally.
Getting, the bottom line on this, I think, is
Right, but
important.
you get the fuller picture before voting
Right.
on it.
Yeah, as I said, I, from what I can see here,
Yeah.
I would say,
Now, I don't want to interrupt you, but I have a question for Attorney Blake. Now, right now, our petition is specifically for this rear deck.
Finding.
If in fact there are other aspects of this that should be a finding, is it another application or can we amend this?
Well, I think we would need to understand what Ralph,
permitted.
what he permitted and what his position was with respect to you gotta get a finding, right? So at that point, I think that you could issue the finding for the back, but if Ralph says, yeah, and that front, whatever, bump out, whatever we are talking about needs one too, then the applicant's gonna have to come back in for
For
that.
a second one, okay.
A separate one, separate application?
Well, I mean, you know, I think what he ought to do is, the applicant ought to do is, he ought to go talk with Ralph tomorrow morning and find out exactly what Ralph was envisioning when he wrote this and exactly what he needs to do. And then I think at that point, he could probably amend his application for the next.
Can we actually do that, amend the application to include other aspects of this?
I think he probably could, provided there's sufficient notice. Well, I mean, notice this, yeah. We'd have a rough time with the notice. Yeah, he'd probably have to put in a new application and we'd have to renotice it.
But we can also, but we can hear it together.
Oh, you certainly, if the notice works out,
Right.
then yes.
Right,
Is there
okay.
any way we could do that, where the applicant wouldn't have to pay another
No,
$500?
No.
no, if
That's-
he comes up with another application.
That's up to,
yeah.
you know, waiver is up to the town, it's not.
Yeah.
Do we have that ability?
I haven't really looked through your entire bylaw on that, so I can't answer
remember
that. I don't feel
Way
comfortable.
past, when we've had some things, for example, for the town, can we waive it? I always question whether we had the authority to waive a thing, and I never got an answer.
Yeah, well, I'll write that down and find out.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I would just request again that you guys speak with Ralph
I think that's-
personally.
yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Are you the butter as well?
Yeah, so I'm her son-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm a constable, so I serve paperwork for Ralph all the time. I've seen way less problematic papers that I've served than this.
So I have pretty much, I have a work order from him after he stopped my work order. It says, after a recent site visit to your property, 231B to the road, you may continue work to secure the building from the elements. No work is allowed on the portion of the building that is being reviewed by the zoning board of appeals. That's the back guy. This gives me full permission
Okay.
to go into and start everything else into the building.
I'm thinking here, I'm thinking we're going to have to continue this at least to get Ralph's ground truth on this.
Yeah.
Because right now, we're hearing a lot of, and even what he wrote isn't entirely clear.
Right.
So, you know, exactly what part of this has been approved, which part of it is under, needs a finding, I think we really need ground truth from Ralph. So I'm going to suggest that we continue this, and if we do decide to continue with, this does not count against your the way this works is you pay a $500 fee for this meeting. We continue things sometime because you just don't have all the information that we need, and we continue it. Well, you get one for free, but if you don't come in with all the information, then the second one you have to pay $100 for. But if we continue it, it doesn't come against your, count against your clock.
Right. And we're continuing it because we want to see.
How long?
Right.
We can decide what the time frame is.
Because,
I mean, obviously, you want to do this as quick as possible because you're holding up all your work.
yeah, so right now, they can't continue siding the house
Right.
until they.
We can schedule it to whenever, meets everybody's requirement. Obviously, we need to get Ralph in here. I've already seen the site. Everybody else wants to go look at the
I
site.
want to address Attorney Blake's opinion about if Ralph decides that something else needs to be done, or it's in violation, or you gotta tear it down, or whatever, if we amend the application.
Well, he said we can't do
No, I
that.
don't-
We have to make a new one.
Right, so we said a new one.
Right.
So that means that our continuation is not part of that new one.
Right.
The new one is a new one.
The new one is a new one.
And so I just want to be clear that that's what we're dealing with, and the applicant is then hung up for another $500 fee.
Yes,
And I just want to make that clear.
yes.
Versus
If-
$100 of.
Yes,
continuation.
right, yes. If Ralph says that we need a finding for something that wasn't covered under the original petition,
Yeah.
then we're going to need another petition.
Is the canopy done?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, so, I mean, that doesn't affect the construction, because if we need, I think we may need to have another finding for the canopy.
So
But
my
the,
question-
but the fact that it's
Maybe.
done
Right.
doesn't, like, the speed in which we do that isn't.
Can be later.
Isn't not as imperative, because here, he can't do anything else,
Right.
and there's damage occurring, and we want to do this part as expediently as we
Yes.
possibly
So the
can.
canopies almost falls in the same situation, because you can't start siding there until that whole side's done. So
Right.
so right now, what they've been doing is they've been siding up to a certain point,
Yeah.
stopping.
Right.
So
So,
once
but-
again,
right.
if this canopy, which is on the permit, is now all of a sudden an issue, I have two concerns about this. Why wasn't it put in on this one to where I could file a finding on both instead of one?
Right.
And where I'm battling two fights where you just keep moving the goalpost on.
Well, no, I think, because there's two goalkeepers. Ralph said one thing that you may or may not understood completely. We're saying one thing.
So Ralph may come back and say you don't need a finding for that, and then you're okay. If we need a finding for that, then
I have
well,
multiple emails with Ralph about that side canopy, he had a lot of questions about it, I looked up Superior Court rulings and all that stuff, and then even in his work order where he allows me to start work again, the only thing he
Yeah.
tells me I can't go
Right.
near
Right.
is.
in which case, you're
We agree.
confident that he's gonna come in and say that you don't need a finding for that.
Yeah, I would,
But, we'd like to hear from him.
I would be pretty concerned if he did, just because why wouldn't that be on this,
Right.
where I do one
Right.
thing?
So-
We would have a concern with that as well.
Yes. What's a good time?
mean-
Are we talking a couple of weeks? You're talking a month?
Well,
Obviously,
from my standpoint,
He wants
Tomorrow.
it yesterday.
yeah, you guys,
Yesterday.
you're the one that needs.
We-
information.
we don't have-
I
we- see-
provided everything.
this is an appeals, so we don't have a schedule saying it's always the third Wednesday of the month. We could do it next week.
Yeah, I
We could
mean,
do it tomorrow afternoon.
From what
Well,
I've
we can't do it
heard-
tomorrow afternoon, but,
Correct me if I'm wrong, from what I've heard today, you guys want answers from Ralph more than you want.
Yeah.
questions
Yes.
from us.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, we need
as far as that goes, I don't really, I mean, I've presented everything I can present. I don't have anything else to present to anybody.
But we can't have a meeting with Ralph, right?
no, we would have to, we would,
Patricia LaHaye, the abutter.
well, excuse me, if you're gonna do that, you gotta come up here and,
I'm Patricia LaHaye, I'm the abutter, and
at an address.
231A.
Okay.
The only thing I'm concerned with, and I have emails from Ralph too, I had spoken to him and I said, you need a variance because I saw that the bump out he did was so close to the house. This is the only thing. I've been in contact, the canopy with the cement patio.
Yeah.
The cement patio is up against my foundation. I know you don't care about all that, but I'm just saying the situations. And he said he had a permit for everything. But as you can see in the original application, there's no setbacks. He bumped out, and he actually put an addition, top and bottom. That's all I'm concerned with. How would you feel if someone's just doing, the hood of it comes down? As far as my balcony, that was done with a variance, the correct way you're supposed to do it. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
So,
That's all I'm asking.
Just so I'm clear what your issues are with this.
No.
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 Not at all.
No.
That's, you got the wrong, yeah,
You're just
that's what I'm
worried about-
saying.
you're just worried-
I would say to you, go do the front. Go do the front. I am not, I spoke with you about that.
Yeah.
The roof is,
You're
and
the-
I said,
you're-
that's a
so
fire issue, you need a variance.
So there seems to be a disconnect between what Ralph said to you and what
Yes,
Ralph, and what
and
your
he told
concerns
us,
to Ralph.
I'm the one that, I got the emails where I said, come and check this out. He did, and he said to you, this has to come down, and you said, I'm not taking it right here.
No, that was mine.
I'd love to speak to Mr. Fogels, but he's represented by counsel, who was actually here earlier. He was represented by Mr. Markey, the Superior Court action. So I can't speak to them directly, but I will represent to the board that my client, exactly what she said, she's not.
I'm not trying to be, you would feel that way.
Hang on a second. About the deck from the back and all of that. It's very unclear, and I think it's unclear to the board, what he was seeking a finding for.
Well, he needs to find definitely for this.
Well, I don't know, you just said the canopy. She told.
No. I just want to know what her issue
What her
was.
thing was.
Yeah,
Right?
But he said there's a permit for the canopy.
There was.
But the canopy she's talking about was on the other east side.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Yeah, I know, no, I got it. I
We don't know
see
what
where
the
it was
cease and desist
approved. I see.
Was for the cat-
applies to, or what relief, because, and all due respect to Mr. Ogles, I can't do what he does for a living, he can't do what I do, whatever
Yeah.
he does for a living. But my point is, the application is not clear to me, because to me, it's crystal clear that there's more than one expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use.
We agree.
Why would you ask for one?
Well,
I don't know.
but that's the reason why we
we
need to get
talk
with
to Ralph.
Ralph,
Right,
because,
that's what I'm saying, so.
because he may have decided that the, what do you call it, the porch canopy does not require
I don't know.
finding. I don't know. I mean, that's,
I have a question, what you just said, right? So we're going to Ralph to answer on this back.
Yep.
You just heard from her, she's not worried about the back piece, she's worried about the side.
yep.
Why can't we just do the finding for this on the back piece now, that the neighbor's not even concerned about the back piece? I understand her side, there are some things, and if we would have a conversation about this, the vinyl siding I put on this is James Hardy vinyl siding, it is non-combustible. It's almost a fireproof
But you
siding.
also put it on the addition today. They
Yeah,
put
they're
all
doing
the
it,
vinyl
but
stuff- Yeah, I know.
that vinyl siding is actually, I went with it because the houses are so close.
It's on the addition that.
It's non-combustible, and I can show, we can step out and we can have a conversation, I can show you all the
We can
emails
come
with
back
Ralph.
really quick. If-
Well,
for
we are-
Mr. Ogles and Ms. Reyes, she really doesn't want anything to get damaged or anything. We'll come back as quick as you can, if you can have Ralph here. I know you only meet, you meet once a
Well-
month.
No,
we meet whenever required.
Well, we are trying to,
We
if
could
we
meet
get
on Friday
other
if we had to.
findings, we're willing to come
but we
back
gotta
with the other
notice.
findings.
No.
If that's what they say we need to do.
We don't need to, no,
Okay, it's
because it's a continuation.
Okay, continue.
Anybody who,
Whatever, to accommodate them. I mean, my client wants,
Yeah.
she's gonna live there forever. She
Yeah.
wants to get along with that. But I think
No.
these issues,
Right.
and we need definition of what this
yes,
is.
we need, right now, we need ground truth on what's been approved and what does Ralph require as a finding. Those are the two things that we need, and we don't, and there's conflict between even his own paperwork of what that is.
She says she's okay with doing the back. He says he's willing to come back for a second finding. So why don't we just deal with this tonight,
Yeah.
get this sorted out, and then they have to come back?
Well, if it's a condition that nothing else goes on, I don't know if this board's empowered to do that, council could say, but if there's no, if there's a condition that it doesn't, until we get a determination from Ralph, that this other build-out doesn't need approval.
I want to hear from Ralph.
But Ralph can go out there and say,
But he can do that tomorrow and require a finding for that aspect.
that's correct.
Right.
Now, they need to get some work done
You know what? Let's just like,
take care of their house. Their house is gonna get damaged. We got storms coming. We also need to look out for that. Why make them pay extra for damage?
No, he authorized that.
No, we don't.
The building
No, 'cause he's-
inspector authorized them to
I
mark it
can't,
up.
I can't continue, especially with the siding that I purchased. This is a very expensive siding. It's non-combustible, it's one of the most expensive siding you get. They can't continue until certain points, so everything stays exposed. If there's no issue with the back, as was just said, and I understand her, she's frustrated with this side piece. I have pictures and I'd be more than willing to show you everything. A lot of this stuff was already there. There was retaining walls there. You probably didn't see it because the aprovites were covering everything, but a lot of that stuff I just went over the top of. With that being said, if it's a side issue that Ralph is gonna have a problem with, then Ralph can bring it up and we can deal with that. But in the meantime, why can't we have a vote on this finding in the back? It's not more detrimental. She's not even concerned about the back piece, like I've said, it's just the side piece that I do have a permit for. This should have been proposed to me, I'm not a contractor, I had a contractor, they talked to Ralph. That's where I'm at.
We've been through this.
Yeah. Roger, how many votes do we need
Three.
to pass?
3,
So 3 yes, for 3 yes and 2 no
Yep.
is okay.
yes.
I guess the only thing that I would worry about, that I know that I'm concerned about, I'd like to talk to Ralph.
I would
Ms.
like
Gee would like to talk to Ralph. I think Jerry would like to talk to Ralph. If we vote right now, there's a chance we vote against you. If we vote after we speak to Ralph, there might be a better chance
right.
that we're gonna vote
And
in
after we
favor of
see
you.
it, after we go.
I have a suggestion that might accommodate that, and that is, I really believe that this is a little different than your typical I want to build a house on a small lot or whatever. And we already said that we'd like to see it, okay? So my suggestion would be if we could do an on-site,
Yeah.
and that can be a regular meeting, you know, posted.
That's 2 weeks,
meeting.
though.
Yeah.
That please?
Posting is how many days?
48 days.
No, no, no,
48
no.
hours.
Okay.
No. Not if it's a continuation of this one.
Right.
Okay.
There is no notice.
There isn't,
Yeah, there's an open meeting law notice.
Yeah.
48 hours.
But yeah.
48 hours.
but you can do an on-site like
Not
on,
2 weeks.
you can do an on-site on the weekend,
Yeah, so I'm saying.
which we usually do a Saturday.
Right, so
maybe
I'm
I'll remember
suggesting we
this time.
do a Saturday. We try to get Ralph there.
Yeah.
Ralph
And it's all
tells us,
done, yeah.
And then we could actually vote.
I would like to have,
We could schedule a meeting for next Wednesday.
No.
We don't even have to.
You can't.
Why?
This room is being used, it's,
Some other
there's another
meeting.
meeting.
Oh, there's another meeting here.
Well, we wouldn't
Oh,
have.
go
to.
Thursday.
You can vote it, right? If you
we can
get
vote,
enough
no,
information.
we can notice, we can vote it right on
Satisfied.
site.
So, but understand, if
No.
you notice a meeting for his property, it's an open meeting law.
Yes.
People, anybody from the public can come.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it has to be accessible.
Yeah, if they can find it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And it
not-
has to be
I wouldn't-
accessible.
It's also, there's construction stuff waiting around there, like, I wouldn't be bringing a ton of people down there.
People aren't gonna show up.
Okay, well, I was trying to quicken it
I mean,
up.
you can't have it both ways. We're trying to
I don't care
accommodate
if
you.
I don't care if you go, but like, as he
Well-
just brought up, you got random people that show up, I mean, I guess that would be concerning.
It would
I think it's only the
very
neighbors that
unusual.
would show up. I don't
Yeah.
think, I mean, we've never had random
I don't
people
think
show up.
random people are gonna be.
I mean, I've never done this before, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's new to me.
I'm trying to address your concern.
Yeah, we're trying to help.
I understand
Or we just go for an on-site, we don't have any discussion.
Right, just like,
And then we bring Ralph in next week, and we
Next
start
No,
all
we
this
can't do it
all over
next week.
again.
Or not
Next
next
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I'd like actually Ralph at the on site.
Yeah.
I think it would be I
Well,
think,
yeah. it can be-
and that's, we can't do it on a Saturday then, because he doesn't work on Saturdays, right? And we
Maybe
had to
we
do
would.
it. Or you would, I mean, again, I don't wanna push Ralph to do something, but I think it would be, for me, it would be helpful if Ralph was there during the on-site, only to point out things.
Right.
I have a
And deal with it.
question, and back to what Mr. Menard was trying to focus us on, is just focusing on what we would need to have a finding on. Rereading Ralph's letter a number of times and hearing everybody talk, I think if we look at the first sentence, it's pretty clear that he only called out one aspect of the project that is not permitted, and that's, he says, a second-level addition, which I think is that 8-foot bump out. So is that sufficient detail if we just ignore the rest of the perhaps ambiguities? He's affirmatively said the one portion that's not permitted. Is that enough to ask to go with a
I think the applicant.
decision now?
Have
Oh, we
not
could.
the applicant,
I
I'm
just don't
sorry.
think it's gonna be
The
favorable
neighbors
to the
have
applicant.
an issue with the back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm back front, the north side, I guess.
Well, I just don't see any other reading of his letter that that's the only part that he found that's not permitted.
right.
And with that, there was something else I noticed, is that I don't think we went into any detail about why that would be further detriment than what was already permitted. That's just something I noticed,
I mean,
as far as blocking view or creating additional runoff.
that's
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I don't know.
I just put it out to him, if we voted tonight without talking to Ralph, the decision may not be as favorable as he would like, that there'd be a better chance of a more favorable decision after we spoke to Ralph. That-
Because people are still confused about
Yes.
So
what
that,
is actually approved, and
Sure.
so, I mean, he can,
I was just wondering if we agreed that that was the one
I'm not
thing-
confused.
That was the
If
one
the-
thing he
yeah.
called
Everybody
out.
else is, then
if
I'll
the
go along
chair,
with
yeah,
that.
if the chair is okay with us taking a vote tonight,
No, that's not the way it works. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's the board.
Yeah,
Right.
we would vote.
so somebody has to make a motion to, I think, somebody needs to make a
Well, I
motion
mean,
to
if
vote
it,
tonight.
you know, and I think there's enough confusion that I would like to hear from Ralph as well.
Okay,
Because I'm not entirely sure what aspects have been actually approved
right,
and so I'd like to hear it from Ralph.
yeah,
Because even his own letter isn't
clear.
really, really clear.
No, it's not.
So,
Well, there could be another issue where they initially spoke, unless we actually saw that corner, that seems to be the issue. Unless we actually saw it on a written plan and approved, then I think that would become an issue, and then they'd have to start all over and come here for.
Is 2 weeks gonna cause you a major headache?
Tyvek's good for a year.
Oh, we're getting close. I mean, it's been up for a while. I mean,
I
my
think the
one
new
concern
stuff-
about, like, especially the,
What?
I think the new stuff lasts even longer.
Yeah.
the one concern that I have, like, right now is it kind of sounds
I think it
like
needs some shoring up.
Ralph is playing both sides of the fence according to what they're saying, according to what I have with Ralph. I mean, the other concern, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I mean, the fact that he does serve papers and he's friendly with Ralph, I don't know if Ralph just doesn't want to start trouble there.
No,
Ralph,
let's not get into personality.
Ralph says.
There's enough
I have,
confusion.
like, I know the emails, I didn't bring them because I didn't think this was gonna go this, so assault like this, but I have the emails where he's told me on site, hey, just send me the emails, what you have, and then I've never heard anything else from him.
Yeah.
it's
I think
fine.
if you haven't.
I'm still asking,
Yeah.
if we're gonna continue this, we could
I can
continue
wait
it.
2 weeks, I mean,
Why
whatever you
would it
guys
have
need
to
to
be
do
2 weeks?
to feel comfortable.
Because
then-
we can't use this next Wednesday. We could do next Thursday.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a
It
Wednesday.
doesn't really have to be a Wednesday.
No, not at all. If we could do an on-site.
Do an on-site.
Saturday or whenever.
Yep.
Before that, and if Ralph could be there, wonderful.
If not, we gotta make sure that Ralph can be here on the Thursday. I mean, that's another thing we need to really, like, I gotta be fine with Thursday. Wednesday,
Oh, I can go with them.
But like you, I'd rather see Ralph
what's-
be at the on-site if possible.
yeah.
Can we do the onsite on Monday and then either take a vote then or reconvene for
We
Thursday?
Monday the
can't- We're not gonna
20th?
vote on the offsite.
Okay, well, okay.
It's a holiday, Monday the 20th, so Ralph wouldn't be working. Patriots Day.
Yeah, we can't.
Dump's closed.
We can't meet on a holiday.
Okay, yeah. I'm okay with I can do a morning on site on Saturday, and I promise I'll remember.
All right, so are we gonna,
Well-
are we
Can we get Ralph
going
there?
on Saturday, or we don't know?
I don't
We
know.
can't get, we can't, it'd be nice if we contact Ralph now, but I wouldn't call him at 9:30 at night.
9:30.
So somebody, just lets us know tomorrow.
So, yeah, do we have to say when we're doing on-site in this meeting?
You can continue this hearing.
Right.
If you go on site, you can't talk.
Right,
Right.
right.
You can't say a word.
I don't think it's gonna really help, unless Ralph is at the onsite and we're able to, I don't think it's gonna help us that much.
So we
We'll
can't
just
talk to him? You're saying?
No.
No, you can't, you
So
can't.
even if it's there, we can't talk to him?
And the AG is clamped down a lot.
You mean,
Like, you can't say anything.
what, but would we have to give a 2-week notice in order to have an onsite?
No.
We can't ever do that? We can't have an onsite with a building inspector and ask questions, even if it's a public meeting? We
It
can't
was,
do that?
if it's a public meeting, you can, but
Right.
you have to let everybody on, and this is the big one, I keep repeating. It has to be accessible, meaning people with wheelchairs gotta be able to go down.
Oh, so even though we know that no one with wheelchairs will probably show up, the fact that it isn't accessible is
I mean,
probably.
and it very,
It's accessible if you have an all-wheel drive wheelchair.
and
It's a dirt road.
and it very well may be, this one very well may be a flat, like most of the site visits,
Yeah.
people take her off in the woods and stuff.
Yeah, this is not flat.
But,
No, okay.
And let, the other alternative, if I may suggest, council, is that you go in different shifts.
yeah.
So to not violate the open meeting bylaw.
So there's never
Oh,
more
you
than
can do
two
it
at a
at a
time.
time, and then it's, yeah.
meet 3 or more.
So, yes, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go, I've already seen the place.
Have Ralph meet you down there,
Yeah,
two of you
just
go
stay
down.
there, everybody go every half hour. or something.
Right, that's the way to do it.
But poor Ralph.
Don't have a
be there
quorum.
All of it.
So 2 at a time.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, we don't.
and you don't have to,
But
you don't have to notice
You
it.
can go 4, but 2 are gonna sit in the car and not be part of it. And then they'll tell you, you can talk to Ralph, and then 2 others can go down and talk to Ralph. As long as they're not all together.
Kevin, did you know this was gonna be so much fun?
What do you think it's here for?
So,
That's
go
why I
back
got
down
zoning
to-
board after 2 years, when I got sued by a former lineage coach.
Oh,
So
gee.
that was 40 years ago.
So,
Thank you, and I, Mr. No, I apologize for being heated, I was getting my,
so we're continuing, but if we're doesn't he want to know when we're continuing the hearing? Yeah, you're not leaving, right?
I'm not leaving right now.
Okay, good. I thought you were, yeah, I just thought you were leaving, that's all. So, all right.
I mean, it'd be really good. I mean, it's, we gotta get Ralph, but it's a matter of,
Can I make a suggestion?
yeah.
We don't know if Ralph's gonna be available on the day that you guys wanna go down there.
Well, I'm not worried so much about going down there, but we need him for the meeting.
Right.
I can bring my car, and you can call.
No, but we have to, we can't assign a TBD date. It has to be date certain.
From this meeting.
Yeah. We can't say, well, whenever Ralph is ready, we'll have a meeting. We can't do that. We have to pick a date and say it's gonna be, what we can do is, and.
Can we all
What we
reconvene
can do is,
tomorrow?
we could assign it to next Thursday, and if he can't come, we'll continue it to the next Monday.
Yeah.
You know, when we can actually get him.
One person can show up and continue a meeting. It's the
Right.
only thing you can do without a quorum,
Is that right?
Is what?
continue a meeting.
But the
Really?
app-
So I could just come and say, we're continuing it, everybody, and, is that right? Oh, all right.
Or we can just have a Zoom meeting.
We're
Right,
gonna
it's still
continue
allowed.
this, I'll see you later.
So,
You can just come in and say.
how does that sound? I mean, We
Yes.
don't know what Ralph's schedule is. So,
And we don't know the schedule of this room for next Thursday at the moment. I was just gonna ask you, is there a publicly accessible schedule for this room?
they still haven't done that yet, have they?
Haven't done.
What was Wednesday that they can't, that's gonna be here?
It's the optional
You're
Wednesday
involved in
advisory
It's her meeting.
committee meeting.
your meeting. Ah,
But she can come here Wednesday and just continue it if she has to.
yeah. We could actually go down,
Before your meeting.
we could actually go down the hall, but.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I don't think we need this room. I mean,
Well, we're
need
actually gonna have,
someplace.
we're probably gonna have this many people, so down the hall is probably gonna be a little,
yeah.
we really need this room.
Can we just do Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah, I said,
23rd.
Thursday? Thursday, okay, with everybody? And then if Ralph can't come, we'll just automatically continue it, and we'll find out when Ralph
Consider
can.
it the afternoon?
What are we going, what are we doing?
And
Don't
so,
look at me like that.
okay, so is
No,
it,
no, no, the meeting.
So when's,
not that,
when's
the
the
offsite.
meeting?
No, I'm saying.
I think the meeting is Thursday, and
23rd.
it might be continued to Monday if
And
Ralph's
this
not
is,
available.
this
Can I just
next
ask a question?
They-
So, can I just, excuse me, okay, so forget about the site visit, let's just go there, make sure, is it gonna be okay for us to bring our cars down and come to your?
Ours, you won't be able to go down.
Well, you can,
You're on the road, you have to park up top of the hill.
we have to park about 50 feet away. Well, not even that far.
Well, whatever, I mean, I can walk down that far.
Cars. You can fit 2 or 3 cars.
Okay, but I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just saying, we don't have to come together.
Right.
Especially if we're not gonna have Ralph there, it doesn't really matter.
Right, we can just
But
all
I
get-
think people were a little apprehensive about driving all the way down there and stuff because it's very private. So, so the neighborhood doesn't have a problem if our different cars go down and walk around the site and see it, and then we meet. We can just do it
Yeah, so we don't really
individually.
need to do a site visit. We can just all go by our own,
Right.
ourselves, because we
Your
can't
own-
talk on the site visit.
Right, because Ralph's not gonna come anyway, and that was the point.
I
Yeah.
would suggest that you have someone to show you around.
It's very confusing.
I don't know, I found it. There's a little sign that says if you want
No, I
D,
can
go
find-
down here.
Yeah, you gotta go down there.
So I could find it. I was just, I just was like, I didn't want to I had
Yeah.
a big truck and I didn't want to come
Oh,
down and have
right.
all the neighbors come zooming at me. But
Okay.
as long as you know we're coming.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we continue this till next Thursday at 6:30,
April
April
23rd.
23rd.
April 23rd.
I second.
Is there anything else?
Monday's not gonna be available,
Excuse-
27th.
What's that?
27th is a select board,
Yeah.
so this room won't be available.
Yeah,
Which-
right, but Thursday,
If we have to continue from Thursday, then it can't be Monday, because I actually can't be here on Monday anyway.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't, yeah. No, we
We'd have to re-deal with that.
So the,
Thursday, we have to come back here.
The 23rd.
yes.
what'd you say about the this room?
Select board on the 27th.
Oh, but
That's if we
I'm
have to come
talking the 23rd,
Do
right?
you know for the 23rd, anybody?
We're talking Thursday.
Thursday,
Thursday
the
the
23rd.
23rd.
at 6:30.
She would know.
Val, is that okay? 23rd?
Yes, there's nothing on the schedule.
Okay.
But But you've got the Wednesday one on the schedule?
And the
Yes.
No, I'm looking at what's been posted.
See, that's what
It's
I'm
hard to tell because they don't post till 2 days before.
Right,
The
right,
22nd is scheduled, the room is scheduled.
22nd is booked. yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, but in deference to your situation, first come, first serve. So if we,
Well, that's assuming, they have to schedule Paula. I don't know.
Yeah, so with your 23rd.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
I
the
make a-
23rd, the 22nd's already scheduled, and so is the 27th.
All right, I make a motion that we continue this hearing until the 23rd of April at 6:30. Do I have a second?
Second,
Constance seconded already.
yeah.
Oh, you seconded already. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. So we will see you
Guys have it.
next Thursday. And hopefully these, they can get down and take a look at your property. Okay, the only other thing I have is,
And now, are we agreed that we're all just gonna go there by ourselves?
yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
I'll take my mini truck and get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you sort of gotta,
No, I went down there and I saw the house and I saw the, a van, but I was like,
when you get
There
down
was
to
a-
the end, just keep walking towards the water.
yeah. Well,
Because that's where it is. Okay. Meeting minutes for March 11, 2026. Maria generate. Thanks, Jeff. Take care. Anyway, Maria's generated the meeting minutes. I know we've all commented on them. So I make a motion that we approve the March 11, 2026 meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No, there's minutes. Okay, good. I can sign this off. Any other business? Other than,
I think Cynthia has to sign those because she presided.
oh,
you were, is that?
bring them over.
You got it.
You missed my
Good.
debut.
Oh, all right.
What, oh. You were the.
She was
okay,
it.
that's
She
right,
was,
okay,
she was chair for the day.
Where do I gotta, in the back or in the
Yeah,
top?
back. Where's
Oh,
the-
there we go.
Okay, town meeting is what, May
5th.
May 5th.
Oh, wow.
And there's a bunch of zoning things on it, so, you know, you may want to,
Read them.
may want to be there.
What time is the town meeting?
Or do we have to wait till the very end of the meeting as usual?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Anyone know whether they,
just started 7? I don't know, I didn't see it.
did the planning board hold
Well, that's my job.
public hearing on the village zoning issue?
On the what?
On the village zoning, you know?
Oh,
Familiar with that?
no, no.
Okay. Right now, it only pertains to Adamsville. It's supposed to, well, when we first talked about it, there was gonna be at least 4 villages, possibly 5 with South.
This is all the villages, so it'd be Central Village and.
This one is only gonna be Adamsville. It was originally meant to be
Central
talked about.
Okay, yeah.
Ed, Southwest Port.
Yes, Central Village is already zoned commercial.
The point?
Anyways,
Probably the point, yeah.
but I'm just wondering.
Oh, well.
We haven't adjourned the meeting.
Sorry. He's gonna go. I know, but
All right,
like, you know. He's gonna get
because
home, he's gonna put kids
I-
to bed.
I make a
He's got
motion,
kids, he's got kids.
Okay.
because it's my job. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Wait, no,
Oh, wait a second.
We don't have, that's not meeting
We're still
material.
I
talking.
don't care whether you hear
Oh,
this or not. I know,
Okay.
but it's.
Go ahead.
But I'm assuming you guys all knew too.
Yes.
I
But
saw
this is
that.
something we've been looking at for a long time, but right now, the planning board is taking it upon themselves to meet amongst themselves, and then also with the planning people of Rhode Island
Yeah, I read that.
to plan this stuff. Only 5 lots in Adamsville are involved with this, including the one with the little travel trailer. Okay? And that's coming up at this town meeting.
Oh, yes.
My question is, do you know if they've had or intend to have a public meeting?
No, yeah.
I've been involved with this for a long time.
Yeah.
But they haven't involved me at all
Yeah.
in this part.
Yeah.
Right.
They
No,
don't
I
notice
haven't
me.
heard anything.
No, I just read about it in the paper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know.
yeah. So this will eventually, we expect, go to the other village, whatever. And basically, it's to set some guidelines that would allow by right certain kinds of businesses to be in those areas. The point being another one.
They're gonna rezone that as,
Yeah, but not rezoning it, they're just making, I don't know, I call it an overlay,
yeah, that's, yeah.
you know? So,
We gotta, somebody just got hurt out there.
Yeah, so,
She
okay,
fell down the stairs.
really?
all right, let's go ahead.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
I 15th.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.